Doink. 5560. Hey, everybody, what's going on? I'll explain that one in a minute. It's Friday, and I hope your week went well. I hope your weeks went better than mine. I'll explain that in a minute. But my week went better than Stump's. I can goddamn tell you that.
Yep.
All right, so let's see who's been in here, and we'll start from there. Jay Watterson 69 was first. Wow. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. Stevie B, always a pleasure. How are you doing, bud? County Line Logging. How are you doing tonight? Good to see you. The ever beautiful Sandy's Passions is with us again. She says, see what happens when you post a link at different times? I can't be first. That's all right, Sandy. You'll always be first to us here on the Quagmire, sweetheart. Doesn't matter when you post. Driver of all checking in with us tonight. How are you, driver?
Driver.
DSW Outdoors is looking on. DS, good to see you. And no, I did not forget you. Who else? Vborg 001. How are you, V? Good to see you.
What's up, V?
An informed state of mind. Luke, how are you? He'll be joining us here on the panel in a couple of minutes.
Cool.
Oh, who did I forget? Oh, scroll back up, Mike. Yeah. Partisan, good luck. PG, how you been? Good to see you.
What's up, PG?
Well, I got freaking bugs in my house, okay? Bugs, November 3rd. Okay? All right, I'll get to that in a minute, too. G Trapper. What's going on, G Trapper? Anything good, I hope? Fuzz T Fork 8. Fuzzy, how you been? Great to see you.
Right on.
Shalisa Shell's with us tonight again. Shalisa, great to see you.
Hey, Shug.
Shalisa, are you doing your chat this Sunday? I'm off. I'm off my rocker to begin with, right? But I think I'm off. So, off as in, I went to watch it and you wasn't there or whatever. But if you can let me know. Guys, whatever happened to Johnny Master at Arms? Johnny got a job, and he's traveling a lot. So, so he doesn't do his Friday night chat anymore. This Sunday, awesome. Thanks, Shalisa. He'll steep up some on Jamie time on Saturday nights. So, Fuzz. So if you want to catch him, he's sometimes posting there.
I see the fat wood stalker bothered to show up.
The I want to be a duck hunter showed up. Anywho, so here's what we're gonna do real quick. Steve, good to see you. Here's what we're gonna do real quick. Because on a list of importance, mine's nil. So if you guys follow Stump on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that, you know that Stump had an incident. If you don't, I'm going to let Stump explain what happened and let him say thank you to people because I know he wants to do that.
Would have been Wednesday morning, November 1st, 7:10 in the morning, on my way to work. It's another beautiful thing about my job. We don't have to be there till 7:30. And this little young 17-year-old lady decided that while me and that 86 cast iron Ford pickup were doing 45 mile an hour, that it was in her best interest to try and launch my truck by running into the back end of it. Put my head through the back glass, shoved the bed of the truck into the cab, twisted the cab, busted the leaf springs in the back, destroyed a Class 3 Reese hitch, cracked the welds in it, bent part of it. Just pretty much totally fucked my truck. She killed it. I'm still not pleased with that. Um, Mild concussion, um, some very mild crap with my back and such. But for all of you that, like Mike just said, definitely for all the sorry to hear about that, and well wishing and prayers and such. Appreciate y'all. Been nice to know somebody out there other than God. My mama gives a shit about me. Well, my wife too. Can't leave her out, or I will be in the damn doghouse.
Well, concussion would be the last of your problems.
No shit, right?
We're just happy you're all right.
Right on.
Well, as all right as I ever was. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been down that road. Not fun. Obviously.
No. Especially when, much like yourself, I'm not very fond of medications pain-wise, so, they give a prescription for all this shit, and I'm like, nah, I don't think so, because I like that shit way too much.
Man who knows his own faults or weaknesses.
Yeah, only when a doctor hands you a prescription for 120 damn Percocets and says, you drive, so use them sparingly. I'm like, you just give me 120 things and tell me to use them sparingly? That's retarded. I mean, I know better. I can't do that.
Mr. Luke, how are you tonight, sir?
Pretty well, thank you. And how is everyone else? I guess maybe first and foremost, Stump, my gosh, I'm glad you're okay. Certainly, and I'm glad it could have been worse. That's I guess when you get to that point, when you're safe and sound and you're reflecting, you can really believe it and say it. It could have been worse, and it's a gentle reminder that points directly to the fact that anything can happen at any time. The probability is a little bit, heightened certainly with other things, and not so much with others. But like I said, like I say, it can happen, man, for sure. So good to see you
right on. Hey, Luke.
Sitting up and talking, so good.
Right on. Thanks for that. And that kind of, Mike, I hate to do this and slow things up even more, but it kind of brings up a little thought. Like he just said, anything can happen at any time. This is one of them ordeals where you can relate a really good bumper to the same as being armed all the time. I didn't know I was going to need that bumper, but I'm damn glad it was there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I'm going to get into something that you were going you need, and until you don't know you need it in a minute. But before I do all that, first and foremost, Uncle Kyle, how the hell are you? Hope things are well.
Hell yeah.
I hope everything's going all right. And
massive amounts of love and respect for that little dude.
All right. The other thing is that my missus and my two little hoodlums are over a friend's house. They did all their trick or treating today because we had a storm, and I'll get into that in a minute. So they had to do trick or treating tonight. So if I'm talking and all of a sudden, bloop, I go out, that means they just walked through the back door. So it's and then you'll see my icon. So don't think that I'm all right.
Right on. So they delayed it because of the storm, eh?
Yeah. So the Northeast decided to have another nice storm, and Sunday night we lost power here at 11:30, and I saw it coming. I was outside having a butt, and I kept seeing these powder blue, like Smurf blue, you know what I mean? And it was lighting up the whole sky. And I'm like, well, that ain't lightning, so this can't be good. And then all of a sudden, slowly but surely, it was like a domino effect. There goes all the lights. And I didn't see lights until I think it was Wednesday, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, one or the other. But a bunch of people didn't have power for quite some time. The state of Maine, parts of New Hampshire, are still out of power. Which leads me into what Stump was just saying about you don't know you're going to need it till you need it, which I wanted to talk about this week was and I wish Prepping to Endure was here, and I wish you can get on here with us. But prepping, because so my power goes out. Okay. I can survive. I got, was it chilly? Yeah, it was all right. I got a generator that gave me, only because the extension cord was just so weak and disgusting. I had no business even putting on them. I'm surprised it didn't cause a fire. I could do my fridge. I can charge phones in a laptop. And then would swap it off and put, so the wife could like do a curling iron or whatever, So I figured that the food was, the necessity. Everything else, it was kind of funny because the girls, well, Daddy, what did you do when the power went out? What did you, how did you play on your tablet and your phone? I go, my what and my what? I whisper in my wife's ear. It's like more like play with myself than the friggin'. So then I let the girls in on a clue that there wasn't cell phones longer than friggin' 15 years ago. For Christ's sakes,
Yeah,
20 years ago. Anywho, but importance though, right? So people are all out of power. And the highways it was nice going to work because they weren't going to work. Nobody, it's like, why wait? Why be reactive instead of proactive, right?
Exactly.
So like I said, do I have, I might have mentioned this before, but I got enough food in this house that a family of 5 can survive without any issues. Probably, I don't know, 5 days or so, 6 days probably.
Sounds like the important thing now is to upgrade that extension cord.
Well, I had it. Well, the extension cord would. Okay, so it's funny because my kid brother borrowed the generator last winter, and then he brought it back to his garage with my big fat extension cord that I could have, because my poor wife, she plugged it into the thing, but she kept tripping it, and I'm like, don't worry about it. Just do what you can do with it. But that's that. I got to get 2 of those. I like those. They're nice. The other thing now I have to do is we gotta buy a little bit more because we used, some of, 2.5 days, whatever it was, 3 days, whatever it came out to be. Because the stores were out. I mean, I could have went and traveled, but I didn't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're just out with the rest of the crazy.
Yeah, I'm out working, and she's doing the thing. She's here with the kids, and
chances are, you get to the grocery store, the shelves are going to be bare anyhow.
Pretty much, because again, instead of being proactive, it's just like in the winter storms. People hear there's going to be 4 inches of snow, and the freaking stores are full. So,
yep.
But it's like Stump said. It's like, better to have it than not to have it, and
yeah.
Jesus, it rings true. It rang true for him, and it rang true, with me this week. And I don't know. I just think that I want to call it semi-prepared, because I only call myself semi-prepared because, like I said, I got like 5 days. There's people on YouTube, there's people out in the world that have, they can survive months.
Brother, there's folks out there that are stockpiled on dry goods for years, man.
Exactly. And I'm not to that point yet. I don't have the room. Only I'm on a postage stamp as it is, so I don't know. That's just I think it's important, anyways. That's just me.
Well, on that note, here in our house, we don't really. How do I put this? As far as dry goods go, and we've got enough of that to last for a substantial length of time. But as far as proteins and all, we don't really worry about that or stockpiling water because, as most of you know, I'm way out here in the country. I've literally got a walking deep freezer full of meat out my front door, and we've got this pond down here that's probably in the neighborhood of, I don't know, a couple million gallons of water. Takes a little time to build a fire and boil it, and that's safe.
Right.
All the land out here, between what we own and what I have access to do as I please on because I keep the coyotes thinned out for the local farmers and all. Hell, in an average day's time, close to 3,000 acres to play with. Grand total probably closer to 30,000 acres. I've got room to play and gather on that's the equivalent size of most large towns,
Yeah.
I'm really lucky on that aspect.
Not necessarily luck. You work for that.
Well, yeah, I earned it in my own weird, twisted, trigger-happy way.
Now get the hell out. And something I hope you learned from that out of the blue accident stump. Never drive the speed limit again.
Never drive under the speed limit. It's actually 55 through there. I was worried about hitting a deer because I didn't have the brush guard on the front of the truck. So I had it off to weld some brackets on it to put some lights on it.
Right.
So I was being extra slow because I didn't want, little Johnny Whitetail to, screw my radiator. So, yeah, apparently there's a problem, doing the speed limit or less. Yeah. That and getting in front of a 17-year-old little girl that's distracted and in a hurry because she's late for school.
Right.
Which, for the record, case insurance companies and shit are stalking my ass right now. As I've told them, I'm very glad to know that she is okay because I was pissed when I seen my truck and when I seen that little 2009 Ford Fusion she was in.
Ouch.
Dude, I was scared I was fixing to have to, pull a body out of a car. It was bad.
Right.
Yeah, they don't make them like they used to.
Yeah, when part of her engine block was sitting in her passenger seat and her hood through her windshield, I was pretty damn concerned.
Wow. That's scary shit.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you what I will tell you what I don't have, right? Is I don't have, I guess, a decent amount of water, which I should probably. Again, it's a room thing, but that I do have to.
At the very least, find a decent sized body of water that's within walking distance, so you can go to an existing natural source and collect it.
Right.
Oh, I can. I got the river. I got the river. It's not too far away. Actually, Tool.
Yeah.
Even if it's nasty, you can save your potable water
I got
drinking and use
that. And use that. Right.
I've dipped out of this lake a few times to, flush the toilet and water the plants and.
Oh yeah.
Yep. But it's, I don't know. I felt bad for a lot of people because, and here I am. I got power back, and people didn't have their power, and I'm sending a message on Facebook. If you need a friggin' generator, at least at least keep your fridge or whatever. Whatever they wanted to use it for, I could give two shits less.
Right.
So I messaged a few people and let them know that it was available.
Yeah. And, short-term circumstances, let's say 3 to 8 weeks, generator is not a bad idea.
Costly though.
But in reality, if we're talking, a longer-term thing, a few months, what you've got stored in that refrigerator, it's gonna be gone.
Right. Well,
The generator and all the fuel store for it was kind of a unnecessary thing. But here again, the short term, the generator is awesome.
Well, I'm in the market to looking into. I told my wife, I said, once we get out of here and get our own place or what have you, I said, I probably won't have the money to put, like my mother-in-law has one, and it's set up to where she loses power, it goes on automatically, the generator.
Yeah, backfeeds the house.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have the money for that. Okay. However, they do still make. Remember the old ones? They stood about, I don't know, 4 foot tall or so, maybe a little taller, and probably 3 or 4 foot wide. They were absolutely huge.
Mm-hmm.
They do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I know a guy who's got one behind his garage. He uses his, but that's just to have the creature of the comforts of you know what I mean?
Right. Now, when you go to look for a large generator, to backfeed a house, Mike, to save a lot of money because they're still very viable as an option, get on the internet and find a surplus military auction type site, like government liquidations and stuff like that. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but we have. Well, our military has these things. They call them tent city generators. They drag them behind the deuce and a half and the 813s.
Yeah.
They're set up to feed, like one generator, an entire freaking fire base or something. I mean, they'll supply the power for 2 or 3 houses, and they actually don't burn a massive amount of fuel per hour.
Yeah, those big ones are diesel, right?
Yeah, well, some of them you can find are actually the old Hercules multi-fuel inline 6, like they put in the deuce and a half, the old M35A1s.
Yeah.
And you can usually pick those generators up with, God almighty, enough cables and wires and leads coming off of it to just drive you crazy trying to figure out which one's which. Usually in the neighborhood of about $2,000.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be more than ample to feed one house.
Oh yeah. Even the ones the guys tow behind them for, like the road work guys and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Something like that would supply the majority of your household. I mean, you still run the fridge and water heater, stuff like that.
That's all I wanted was unfortunately, because like I said, because of the cord and the way it was, I couldn't do the hot water tank. But you know what? I jumped in the shower. It was a little chilly, but what the hell?
Gives you a whole new love and respect for that hot water heater when it's back on, don't
it? Sure does.
Friggin' 4 a.m., 4:15 in the morning, and I'm jumping in a shower that just it shouldn't be. And
rain and ice.
Shit, I'm awake now.
Yep. Who needs coffee? Just take an ice shower.
Holy shit. You might as well have just stuck my balls in a friggin' bucket of ice because, Jesus.
Yeah. I don't do cold showers very well.
Oh, man, I'm telling you.
I'd build me a fire out in the backyard with a old stinking soup.
Old number 7 wash tub or something.
Yeah.
Crawled in it.
Well, I'll tell you where I failed, though, right? I failed with the, with the, being proactive and not reactive. My 2 20-pound, not 20 pounds, the regular size propane for your grill.
Mm-hmm.
I got like 3 of them. I got one on there and two spares.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeah, they're up north.
Oh,
And I didn't fill this one. She was pissed. So I took I says to her, I says, listen to me. Well, how am I going to? I says, listen, this is what we're going to do. I says, I already took the guts out of the old one. She said, yep. And I says, I filled it with wood and had a fire one night for the girls, right? So they can do marshmallows, remember? She says, yep. I said, send the boy down in the backyard, get dry wood. He knows what dry wood is. And I said, let him start the fire, da 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 da. I said, get a little bit of coals, and you can do steaks on that. You can do anything you want, And that's exactly what she did. So
sweet. Probably good tasting steak too.
Yeah. So I mean, it worked, but like I said, I should have been more. I should have had those down here, and
Yep. Just a little advice on that one here again. Trying to do things in a very economical manner. If you have a welding supply shop close by,
actually,
they will sell usually the 90 or 100-pound propane tanks. They're tall, kind of fat.
Tall, yeah. The green, yeah. I call them torpedoes.
Yeah. You can normally pick those tanks up from a welding shop used, where somebody lost their account or whatever, like $40-50.
Really?
And they usually fill the things for like, God, 50-60 cents a pound as far as the propane is concerned. So, I mean, you're looking at $50 to $100 to fill the thing up, $150 to $200 total, have it at the house, already plumbed, ready to go, and just keep it in a permanent reserve,
Right. That sounds. Yeah, I can probably do that. Because I know, like, when I converted I got the 20. What are they? What is it? 20 pounds or 40 pound? What's the next size up from the one that's on your grill?
I think they go 20, 30, 40, don't they?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I had to go down because I changed the size of the tank. I had to go down and get the what do you call it? The new hose and all that shit.
Yeah, the different regulator and such.
Yeah. But like I said, I did feel bad. I still do, because the people, like I said, they weren't ready for anything, and it just makes it go a little. It just makes a sucky situation a little bit better, in my opinion. I don't know. That's just me. I'm not telling people they have to do what they have to do. You can do what you want. I mean, I'm not telling you you're wrong if you don't have, food for X amount of days. I'm not saying you're wrong if you don't, whatever, have fuel or anything like that. But for me, I want to, because how am I going to do this? Do I have him on? Yes, I do. Guys, talk amongst yourselves. I'll be there in a minute.
Big announcement.
All right, what's up?
Buzz Key Fork is taking his once-a-year bath this weekend.
Nice.
Damn it, man.
So
is it that time of year again already? Damn.
he mentioned that quite a while back. I thought I would voice it.
Right on. Yeah, just like Mike was just saying, it's nobody's saying anybody has to store, a warehouse full of food and dry goods and stuff, but whenever you get the chance, say you picked up a couple extra hours one week at work, or your bills were a little less this month than you expected, it never hurts to take just a little bit of money, buy a little something extra, just have it in the cabinet,
Right.
Just like the grocery stores, rotate your stock. You don't have a 20, 50-pound bag of rice back there that you ain't touched in 15 years and think it's going to be good to go.
See, that's my problem. That's what I'll do. I just dug out a jar of mayonnaise in the back of the cupboard that was like 2 years past its expiration date.
But, you and I talk on a regular basis, and I know why that happened, because you don't understand what it is to actually eat food at home or cook.
Oh, yeah, that.
Hey, y'all understand, me and Steve will be on the phone. He's like, damn, what? I just realized I'm hungry. Well, go fix something. Well, I would, but I ain't been to the grocery store in 8 months. Fucker, there's part of your problem.
Yeah, but I got a new pistol, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Life is good.
Right on.
I'll tell you what, when all my responsibilities moved out of the house, my taking care of the house went.
Right.
Like, I'm not that high maintenance.
Yeah. Similar situation. The old lady fusses at me from time to time here because I don't really help out a whole lot with the household chores. Yeah. I'll vacuum. I'll put clothes in the washer, move them to the dryer, but the folding, no, somebody else can fold this shit because I'll get aggravated and burn all of it to the ground.
Ooh, I hate folding clothes, bro.
Yeah. But out in the shop, dude, you could eat off of any surface in my shop you want to. It stays in perfect shape. I refuse to let things get disorganized and jumbled and messed up out there.
Well, look behind me. That's my daughter's loft bed I tore down. It's been sitting in the living room for a month. I just keep moving it back and forth when it's in my way.
There you go.
Like, son of a...
I'm trying to...
And from the prepping aspect, you got to look at it as that is emergency kindling.
Right? It's too nice to burn, but I don't want to wheel it out to the road and put a free sign on it.
NH Trapper, how the hell you been? All sorts, how you been? I just got your text too, Mr. NH Trapper. Brian, are you on Facebook, Brian?
I know he is on Instagram. I don't remember Facebook or not.
See if he wants to come on. I'll send him a thing. P2E, I lost you on FB. I'm trying to get you. Send me a message on Facebook, please, because I don't know why I can't search on Facebook right now. You know, usually you type in 2 letters and it comes right out.
Yep.
Right on.
Yeah, that's not working right now, and it won't let me go back to my old messages. It only lets me go back so far to my old messages.
Sounds to me like your laptop blew the reverse gear.
No, I don't know. You know what I think I did? I think when it updated, the settings I have to go through it for the settings.
Yeah.
Because none of this, my better half thinks I need to.
Yeah, I think I need another generator too.
I want to have 20. Well, there you go, Gia.
I think I want to get one that runs off natural gas or propane just for long term, because if the power's out for a month, the gas stations, unless they got generators, ain't going to be working.
That's right. And if you decide to stockpile fuel, gasoline-based fuels, you're going to have to put up with fuel stabilizers to store it. And even then, it's going to gel and turn to varnish in a few months.
Yeah, but you don't need a lot of that. I mean, it's dependent upon, like, if you're going to store your fuel in a 50-gallon drum, what do you need? One little pint or 1/4 of that shit? I mean.
Yeah, but if you're planning on having to run it for a month or even 2 weeks, 55 gallons ain't going to cut it.
On my little generator, I used Luke, thank you, by the way. On my little generator, I used how big is the tank, though? The tank's only like 3 gallons.
I was going to say that one you guys think's like a 2.5, 3 gallon tank on it.
Something to that effect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Quagmire for the first time on the panel, and that would be Mr. Prepping to Endure.
Sir, nice to meet you.
Hey guys, just wanted to say hello.
What's going on, dude? How you doing? Did I lose audio?
No, he's being really quiet.
Okay, that's fine.
Can
So it's
everybody hear
3.
me?
Yeah,
Go
we
ahead.
hear you good, brother.
All right,
Say
you
what
know
you
what?
want to.
Here comes where Mike's going on silent. Give me a couple minutes, guys.
All right.
Isn't that funny? He says I'm going on silent and everybody else shuts up.
Yep. Well, I think this is the part where we prepping what you take advantage of the lull, and anybody out there that don't have a clue who you are or whatever, let folks know a little something about you.
Hey, prepping. Do a 1, 2, 3 check.
1, 2, 3, check.
There you go. All right, have at her, sir. And so, as Stump was saying, anybody out there who doesn't know you, go ahead and give yourself an introduction to your channel.
Hey everybody, I'm Joe with Prepping to Endure. Real quick drop in.
Okay, real quick, what you got to do is go over to where you got the chat up on YouTube. Scroll down to the bottom of the picture, and there'll be a speaker. Put your mouse over on the picture. Your little arrow. You see the speaker? It's right next to the play button. If you click on that speaker, it will mute that, and you won't get the echo.
Okay, Steve, I'm looking for it.
It should pop if you put your arrow on there from your mouse. Just roll your mouse over there. It should pop up at the bottom of the picture. So, Stump, when you got to go back for your checkup and stuff?
I actually went back today for the results of the CT and all that crap. They tell me that the swelling is going away quickly, provided this insane headache is finished and run its course. By Sunday morning, I'm cleared to get back in the truck Monday morning, but if not, I got to go back again and do another scan and the cognitive test and all that crap all over again.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, they're telling me, it looks like I'm going to be one of the lucky ones that, just, 40, 50 hours or so and I'm good to go. But they said if the swelling goes down so far and then stops,
right,
then it could very possibly be a few months type thing. Which I told them it's not going to be a few months. Even if I got to lie to them, I'm not going to stay home for a few months.
Right.
If there was a reason my biker days I was a nomad, I've got to travel, dude. I can't stay still. No. It's like being in jail. I can't deal with it, man.
You'd be wearing a hole in your carpet.
No shit. That's like yesterday when I got home, man. I was just bored. They want you to do this like sensory deprivation thing almost. No light, no noise, no TV, no stimulant of any kind whatsoever. Just hang out in a dark room and be quiet. I couldn't do it, man. Every damn knife I've got is just retard laser beam sharp right now. I even went so far as digging out old knives that the wife don't use in the kitchen anymore. You know, they're in a cabinet drawer thing out in the shed.
Right.
I went out and got that box, brought those in, and sharpened those too. So there's like 150, 200 knives out there that are just begging to cut into something that probably ain't been used in 6 years and probably won't get used for another 6 years. But I couldn't deal with the nothing to do thing, you know?
Okay, have I lost my echo?
Yep.
Yep, I definitely hear no echo. You are good to go, sir.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say, if I may, Mike, thank you very much for the link. I'm Joe with Prepping to Endure. I've been watching for quite some time. I'm here on Fridays. And I just want to say hello to Luke. Now, it's a pleasure. I've been following you. Mr. Stump, it's a pleasure to finally speak to you. Steve as well.
Oh, yeah.
Again, many thanks. You know, pleasure to speak to you. Definitely go propane as far as a generator setup, if I can suggest that.
Right.
You'll for almost forever have infinite fuel in a SHTF or whatever. Nobody thinks of propane, guys.
Right.
Your neighbors have gas grills, like you mentioned before, Stump, about getting a 100-pound cylinder.
Yeah.
It's the way to go. Even with your home heating, get one of those Mr. Buddy heaters. I got one for Christmas a couple years ago. You get a couple hoses, just be mindful, know what you're doing, and you can get yourself a really good heating and electrical backup system.
Oh,
How
yeah.
to play the game.
And again, medium to large quantities of fuel. You don't have to mess with any kind of stabilizers or turning stuff so that it doesn't gel, all that crap. It's maintenance free. It sits there.
And it doesn't go bad.
Mm-mm.
If I can, guys, I'd like to put it out there. I work as a commercial industrial electrician. Guys are going to be doing, now that we're getting into generator season, I want to come across as a safety Sally. You guys do any sort of hookups through your panels, please make sure you turn your main breaker off and spare one of my brothers as a lineman.
Right on.
You guys,
yeah.
and all that, they'll put out what they call suicide cords, or they'll teach you how to make what they call a suicide cord, which is basically a double male-ended cord that people will generate into their dryer receptacle, because they're both usually typically 30 amp.
Mm-hmm.
And how to turn the main, they don't turn their main breaker off. A transformer, not to get too into it, but a transformer works both ways. It can step up voltage, it can step down voltage. So if you're applying 230 volts through the, back out through the lines, you can put 2,400, depending on your area. It could be 7,200, it could be 13,200. And when the guys are down there, electricity don't care. You can typically linemen work between grounds when they're doing other maintenance stuff. They don't work energized often. They don't, you're in a mess, you got, we'll say, a lot of branches down, the wires are down. They just want to get their job done.
Yep.
But first line of defense, let's turn our main breakers off in our panels.
Yep.
So that's kind of your PSA, if I may, from Prepping to Endure to you guys.
And the dumb guinea over here didn't do that. I just generators on,
it happens every day, and probably hold 100 people. You probably got 70 of them that did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
GI Customs, how are you? Thanks for coming in. Most appreciated, my friend. HRM
Hey,
Weapons,
George.
good to see you, sir.
Yeah, but Mike, you were running your generator directly to your appliance, though, weren't you?
I was running. Actually, yeah, you're right, Steven.
Yeah,
I plugged in. Yeah, I was running right from I was running the electricity from the generator, not from the house. So I don't have to go to the panel.
Hey, I got the whole electrical field. Dude, I got a massive amount of respect for you because when it comes to me and electricity, there's 3 things I know about electricity. It's blue, it hurts, and I ain't got no need to fuck with that shit.
Well, yeah. Yeah, the two things in this world I don't screw with in this order: gas and electricity.
Yeah. And once you let the smoke out of the wires, that's it.
Yeah, when the magic smoke goes, it's done.
Yeah, that's why sometimes I classify myself as a smoke fitter.
I love it.
Remember when I was a kid? For my induction into electricity was going under a fucking electronic fence on a farm and hitting my shoulder blade on the friggin' wire on the way in. Oh my god, that hurt.
Yeah, mine actually kind of started with sticking aluminum keys in a receptacle.
Nice.
Ooey.
I mean, I had my years and years ago when I drank. I'm trying to put a ceiling fan in. It's 3 wires. 3 wires. I go down and shut the panel off to the kitchen. It says kitchen. Shut it off. I climb back up in the ladder. Boom! Off the ladder I go.
How'd I get down here?
So now I'm drinking another beer. I make a phone call and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I keep getting shocked. Well, why do you keep going up the ladder? I says, because I don't know. I'm just trying to put my ceiling, you know. Anyways, long story short, the idiot that had the house before us totally did not mark his panels properly.
I had a guy work on some wires. He installed an outdoor light. And when he did his work in the panel, he hooked everything up on the wrong side of the fuses, the wrong side of the breakers. So you couldn't shut them off.
That's lovely.
There was a guy up in Maine. I was doing a delivery Tuesday. There's a guy up in Maine. He's driving a dump trailer, you know, full trailer, not a 10-wheel dump. He was driving, you know, the whatever they are, 30-foot long ones.
Yeah, little dump wagon.
Yeah. Okay. You ready for this one? I can't do a stop. You know why I can't do a stop? Because a tree fell down. Okay. So I gotta get him on Facebook too. Ooh, that's gonna be a minute. I'll have to look that up. Here's the live wire from the pole going over the cab of his truck and the end of it on the street by his door.
Oh boy.
Nice.
Right. And he's sitting there with his hands on the steering wheel like this going, oh, you son of a bitches, you know. And so I go into the thing and I'm looking at him. I'm like, you all right? He's like, yeah. He's like, this just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because he was in a situation, the only thing he could do was keep his body away from any metal in the truck and his feet on the rubber pedal liners.
Yeah. The tires should help him out a lot, but let me, Georgie, I'm going to try to send it. Georgie, I have to put it in your YouTube inbox because YouTube decided they wanted to change everything around and they won't just let me type in your name anymore. So I have to go open up pages and all that bullshit. But give me 1 second. You guys feel free to talk among yourselves.
Electricity fascinates me. How you
really?
How you can get it from point A to point B and how many different ways you can run it.
No, see, I go back to my standard rules of electricity. It's blue, it hurts, and it don't like me.
Right.
No.
No, it fascinates the hell out of me.
Oh, it's interesting, but me, there's an electrical issue. Yeah, I call up Pop.
Hello?
Yep. Hey, dude, find me somebody to hand some money to. I ain't messing with this.
No, but
I love me too much for that.
Like an extremely valid point, and this is, I guess, where I'll put my 2 cents in. I guess.
Please do.
if you think there's a need for preparedness, man, that's it. Mike was talking about it certainly, and that's it. Prepare ahead of time,
Right.
which means that there's no rush. Here's the other thing. One other thing too. Be careful when you are at a fuse panel or messing around with electricity when the power is off, because you may not know why the power is off, and it can come on at any time. So that's also something very much to consider. I've heard a few stories, certainly being in, emergency response. We've responded to what we suspected was just that. And like I say, it's one of those things you just don't hear about it very often, but it's something to consider. Having said that, again, if you don't have a lot of knowledge about something like, propane, certainly gases of any sort, pipe fitting of any sort, electricity, anything that's going to go boom, bang, zap, these are things that certainly you want to get somebody, with some knowledge there prior to having an emergency, certainly, to get these things, up and running and understanding what they are so that you can take care of it on your own, at least maintain it, restart it if needed. Servicing may not be as big of an issue, but, starting off slow. And then having those preps again, preparing for at least your 72 hours. There was a poll in Canada just recently, and they're suggesting that 75% of Canadians are not prepared for 72 hours or have a home emergency kit. We have things already set aside in some type of bin. Pick it up and go. Right? Yeah, 75%, which means that 75% of the population is depending on emergency services, our core structure, and infrastructure in general, municipalities, to come in and take care of the problem and just sit and wait. It's not a great system, because here's the other thing. When we're talking about first aid, we're talking about just dealing with your own family in your own house on your own property. If you can do that for at least 72 hours, what you're doing is you're helping your fellow neighbor. Even if they didn't prepare, you're helping them by saying, I don't need help. So now I'm freeing up emergency services and other resources, certainly, to help those people who haven't prepared. Now, the problem is 75%, that's staggering. So what you need to understand is this, the process on how they actually fix these problems. If it's a big problem, then how are we supposed to know that? If all of a sudden the power goes out, water's out, nobody seems to know what's going on. This is why we need battery-operated radios, crank radios, something of that nature, something to communicate with the outside, so that if they are giving information, you're one up, so you can say, it looks like this is going to be a big outage. This is 2 weeks. I know I've got 72 hours worth of food in the house. I need now to start, before the bullshit starts hitting the fan, to go out and start trying to gather resources. You're already set up for 72 hours. It may or may not behoove you, certainly, to go into a department store, depending on the chaos. If it's too chaotic, too risky, just say, you know what, I know I'm set for 72 hours. This is a bad situation. Let's step back from it. And it gives you a cushion. And that's the idea, is having that cushion, having a little bit of leeway to say that, hey, I feel more prepared. I know that we're okay for 72 hours. Don't stop there. Shit, man, go for that week if you can. And then after the week, go for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, go for the month, 3 months, and so on. We've been back in Ontario for 2 years now from when we were on the East Coast. And it took us a year, at least a year, maybe about a year and a half, I guess, to get back to 6 months of preps, as far as canned food, dried food, and so on, just for 6 months. It took us that long, and that was challenging, right? We're not in the perfect location, but like Stump, we're outside of the residential areas, so we have an ability to have an outdoor fire as big as we like, quite frankly, you know what I mean? And we have options to go not too far to get to get additional firewood. If it was going to be a really long, stay, we know that we've got the fireplace, certainly we can cook on it and so on. There is those advantages. We understand why we live in cities. It's the ease. Our roots are planted there, whatever the case is. But I think more and more people are looking at getting tiny,
absolutely,
and more manageable, and then going to the solar, solar panels and so on and so forth. And I think that's a good investment if you can do it that way for your, what I mean, and substituting it while you're living now, you know what I mean? It's a win-win, really, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And again, with the propane, making sure that it's stored away from the house, certainly, and seeing if you can hide it from general view from people, too. Because now, if it's a lengthy period of time, you're now a target. Some idiot might try to come up there and steal your propane, not do a very good job, just waste it, you know what I mean? And or something even worse, for instance. So like I say, and if you've got your property set up well and stuff like that, more practice, more better you are. The idea is you don't want to be caught off guard, right? And the moment we're caught off guard, a couple of things happen. The people around us, our family, get pissed off because we're not prepared. So now they're not thinking as clearly as they should. and again, there's that ultimate pressure. Our kids and stuff are locked onto tablets and so on and so forth. And if we don't have, an inkling on what to do with them to keep them busy at the very least, after 3 days, they're going to drive you fucking crazy. And you're not concentrating on maybe a bigger picture, right? And again, we can almost assume that most instances, what we've seen on a very high is about 2 weeks, of disruption or whatever. That's on a high, right? And on the low, we're looking at a few hours, you know what I mean? But there's that middle of 1 to 2 days, like Mike just kind of went through. And some people, again, went, back in 2004, we had that big, that affected Ontario, and everything else. We had a big power outage. Then we've had ice storms in there. The whole province of New Brunswick was in a state of emergency. They were shut down, and some of them were shut down for 17 days without hydro. Now, other people were coming online, good community and such, and it happened slow enough that everything was kind of, not the disaster certainly, but the pickup and everything wasn't chaotic. There was no riots or anything of that nature. Sparsely located, some of these places in New Brunswick as it is. You get back to big metropolitan like Dallas, Texas, something like that, and that has a problem. I don't want to be in the middle of Dallas, Texas, if it's going to be a 72-hour event. Fuck that. I want the hell out of it. This is where a bundle plan, and then you got a whole new show. But anyway, there's my 2 cents. Long-winded. Apologize.
No, that's all right. I agree. Totally.
One of your power outages up there affected Michigan because we were Michigan, New York, all up that eastern area because we were out for like 2 weeks.
That was the ice storm in 2011. It went from there all the way across to Maine.
Yeah, it was huge.
It was something I'd never seen before.
I had to drive 400-mile round trip to buy a generator at that time because I did not have one.
Oh, it was probably.
And let me guess, you paid 9 times what it was worth.
No, actually, they sold it to me. I actually got a bargain on it.
Oh, wow.
I can remember seeing power line trucks from Virginia through here when that happened. I posted it yesterday on Facebook. Yesterday morning, I was up in Maine, and one of the way stations that wasn't open turned into like a parking lot for all the linemen. And a big, huge sign on the highway, whatever lineman, blah, 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 exit at way station. And, there's like 30-something trucks in there, right? And on my way home from Maine that afternoon, there's like 20-something trucks from New York headed up 95. I mean, it's just, it's unreal, really. Luke, one thing that you said that, people in the rural areas, though, are more. Would you say that people in the rural areas of Canada are that 25% that are prepared? Because after talking to a bunch of people up in Canada, like they say they can go, if they go to like their camps or they go wherever, that they can go 100 miles without 200 miles without seeing another person on the road. So they say, like, they bring everything with them. What's his name? Chris was on here with us one night.
Right.
Yeah, Chris Rumble.
Yeah, and he was saying, you bring what you can, you bring everything you can, whatever you have, bring 2. Like he said, in his truck, he's got a couple of pair of pants, he's got a couple of sweat, he's got a couple of everything.
Is that the guy from Newfoundland?
Huh?
Is that a guy from Newfoundland with an accent?
Yeah,
no, he's not from Newfie.
Yeah, he is.
Right? That's where he's at.
Is he from? Oh, that's right. No, yeah. Chris is.
I'm sure he's a Bayman from Newfoundland. Yeah, it is like that. I was on the East Coast. I was on Newfoundland, like I said, on Fogo Island, which is even a more isolated island, terribly isolated, with only about 2,000 people living on it. It was an 8-mile ferry ride out there. So I thought, when we first moved out there, 2011. I'd already been watching everything since 2009. I woke up and I seen the financial situation of the United States, and I said, we're riding on the coattails. Everything's about 3 months later in Canada. If something happens in the States, 3 months later, we're going to pass a law that's very similar to what you guys passed, or whatever the case is. It's history. So when we seen that, I said, you know what? We need to get the fuck out, because if something happens there, the residual, of course, and that wave is going to happen up here. It's going to happen. And I want to be isolated. I want to be able to just fend for ourselves. You go 100 miles, you know what I mean? Even not on that island, but in Newfoundland, yeah, for sure. Especially if you're going up in the wooded area. Newfoundland is known as the Rock because there's a shit ton of rock, but there's a shit ton of wilderness, forest. I mean, so much that you could go in and never come back out and literally be lost forever. Literally, I mean, it's quite vast. So I mean, yeah, here in Ontario, for instance, which is just above, you know, Michigan and Ohio, across the lake there, you can travel 24 hours north in Ontario and still be in Ontario. I mean, and you're going through some serious, you know, barren land. I mean,
right.
What I mean by barren is there's no people, right? Unpopulated. And you could literally travel for hundreds of miles and not see anything. Our hunting camp is on 99 acres, right? And you can travel around there. I mean, and there's other crown lands around us that are, shit, man. You go the wrong direction, you get something wrong with your compassing, you're fucked. I mean, you're gone. But it is not good. But if you know what you're doing and such, you know, could you and your family go up to a cabin and you know, and thrive off of, you know, off the land? Absolutely. You know, if you knew what you were doing, there would be some challenges, but if you were well versed in that lifestyle, certainly, you know, and already had those preps up there, certainly, and we're also willing to go with an agrarian, you know, a mindset, be it gardening and such, and homesteading that way, you're going to make it a lot easier, and you would have to garden. I mean, that's just, you know, kind of a fundamental, but you're talking long term, you know what I mean? So, but you're right. You get up there, you're on your own. You either figure it out, have the parts, or like I said, improvise. You know what I mean? Yep. And then, of course, adapt and overcome. So, yeah, right. Absolutely, for sure.
That's exactly what Chris preaches.
I'd like to welcome back no stranger to the Quagmire, GI Customs.
Dun, da, da, da.
Howdy, Brother George.
What's happening?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm alive.
Hearts out to you, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, I have never felt so impotent as when I lived in the city and we lost power. I have never felt so screwed in my life. And thank goodness I live out in the boonies, well, semi-boonies now, where if I have to, I can go out in the backyard and sneak a couple of squirrels, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But that was a horrible feeling in the city when the power went out.
I don't know. I just think that the further away from the populated areas that you get, all right, like around here, you know, I've said this before, I got like 30-something thousand, 31, 32,000 people live in this town. All right. of that, there's probably only maybe a couple hundred people that were probably prepared for this storm.
Right.
We have more cows where I live than we do people.
There you go.
Yep.
Nothing like a pasture full of meat.
Exactly.
That's right.
I just think it's. I don't know. I just think it's pretty important. I don't know.
Survival of the fattest. I mean, fittest.
Right. I'm winning that battle. The fattest one, that is.
I don't know. The fattest one. I give you a run for your money on that one, Mikey.
Well, yeah. I mean, out of me and you might be, but you know.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not battling the fitness. That's for sure. Somebody asked me.
Either one who's losing that fight.
Somebody asked me when the last time I went to the gym, and I goes, "Oh, you mean Jim Dandy?" You know, yeah, I went to Friendly's and got a Jim Dandy. That's about the last time I ever. Yeah, exactly. Remember those jamborees I used to have? But no, I just, and you know, it's getting into that time of the year that I'll have, you know, I'll change out my little bag that's in my car. You know, I'll swap T-shirts for sweatshirts and shorts for long johns and a pair of jeans, and and that's only just in case I frickin' break down in the middle of nowhere or whatever, or I break down on the highway in the middle of. I could break down in the middle of the friggin' highway with thousands and thousands and thousands of fucking people going by. Have a tow truck operator tell me, hey, listen, it's going to be like 3 hours. Shit, I can walk home in that. You know what I mean? But I'm not walking in no snowstorm. I ain't walking in no freezing rain. I'm not walking in no ice storm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because around here, it isn't like where I have my trailer. You know, I break down up north in New Hampshire where I have my trailer. So your hood's up. People pull over. Hey, you all right? You need a ride? You need a jump? You know what I mean? Can I, what's it doing? Can I help you with anything?
That's the way it is here.
Up here, unless you're a redhead that's like 5'11" with legs to heaven and boobs out to here, a blonde with the same features, period. Unless you're a chick, nobody's pulling over for you. That's just the way it is. I do. I do. If I'm not in the speed line, if I'm not in we call the fourth lane of speed. If I'm not in the speed line, and I'm riding the first 2 lanes or whatever, I've done it. Especially like last winter, I did it twice. And I don't know. It's just how it was brought up. I don't know.
And most people will, Mike. I mean, that as human nature goes, most people want to help. There's a couple of different reasons why people like to help. Number one, because they have that moral compass about them. They think about the fact is, I wouldn't want to be in that situation, or I wouldn't want my loved one to be in that situation. You think about it that way. Or the other thing is that there's almost a, and this is serious too. There's a bit of a better way. I'll explain it any better than this, but there's a bit of a hero mindset. When you do it, you feel good about it. Right. And so there's those type of people too. Either one, they're just fine. Right. But we also have those ones that will stop that may not be good people. And this is when you speak about the fact that people will stop for women. We also have women in our lives that we would want to be safe out there. And again, preparing a little bit, making sure they understand on how to safely be on the side of the road, what to do when they're on the side of the road. Should they accept the help? Sure. They can accept the help. And maybe stay in the vehicle. They should have a cell phone, and recognize the dead zones that they may travel in on a regular basis. That's a good start, because 80% of the time, 90% of the time, you're going to be on routes that you always travel. People like to follow paths. Right. So they're familiar with all these spots. They've got the emergency contact numbers, an extra charger, whatever, and you're on speed dial, and hopefully we're in a situation where we can say, yeah, I'm sending Dave over, who we know is a family friend, or I'm sending Mike, the mechanic, over, or we're going to send CA. Just stay put. Anybody says we've got somebody on the way, and just sit tight. Usually inside the vehicle is about the safest place you can be anyway, especially on a busy highway, right? So, but something to consider, right? So.
Yep.
But don't put your head by the back window, right, Stump?
Right. My
head wasn't near the window until she hit me, damn it.
Oh.
I even bring one to. I even bring a bag with me, like when it gets cold, and I'll be doing, I'll be up in Maine. I'll have my bag with me, or something with me.
Yeah.
I'll have like a change of clothes or what have you. And that's for a couple of reasons. One, I hit a snowstorm or something, I can't make it home. Well, now I can call the boss, have him put a room for me, and now I have a change of clothes for the morning. That could be it's pouring and I'm outside the truck and I'm soaked and it's friggin' 35 or 30, whatever, however cold it is. You know what I mean? I got something warm to change into. I got a couple of snacks in there and 2 bottles of water. So, and I'm really not a water drinker, as you guys already know, but this shit tastes disgusting warm.
Yeah, true. Like you were just saying, Mike, I mean, even down here where I'm at, I do the same thing. I've got a bag that goes with me everywhere when I'm at work. If some of the places we go, if a truck goes down, say the particular job site, you don't have a contractor there, you're just stockpiling material for them to get there in the future. Like I've said in the past, there's some places we go, satellite phones don't even get reception. You you could be stuck out there until 10, 11 o'clock at night when somebody in the office realizes, well, damn, Stump ain't back yet. Maybe we should send somebody to check on him. And I may be 300 miles from the office, you know? You know, you got common sense. Like I say, you've got a bag, you know, a little bit of food of some sort, beef jerky, something, you know, to hold you from getting stupid hungry. You've got water. The bag I carry, like you were saying, full change of clothes, depending on the season. I've got a spare pistol stays in there, and the truck that I'm in primarily has one of my spare shotguns in it. You know, if I'm there for a while, if there's something in the area, small critter-wise, I've got a meal that night, you know.
Yep.
Change of clothes, something to drink, you know.
Absolutely. Hey, Preppin', give me 1 sec, Stump. I'll get right back to you. Preppin', thanks a lot for coming with us.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Anytime, brother. Anytime you want on, you just say, hey, Mikey, send me one. All right?
Thanks, guys. It was a pleasure meeting y'all.
Nice meeting
you. Dude,
you.
It was an honor to meet you, man.
No honor here, man. Just a guy.
Same way, but I mean, it's cool to meet you, man. It really is.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. See you next week, maybe.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Be blessed, bro. Oh, shut up.
I'm sorry, Stump. Go ahead.
No, I was just, just to finish off, what I was saying about that, in the bag, like yourself. It's not really about prepping or anything, man. It's about, it is prepping. It's being able to make yourself a little more comfortable in a bad situation, Right. You don't have to carry, firearms with you. You don't have to carry, a 5-gallon bucket full of gasoline and a self-igniting propane torch as a fire kit. Just have a big lighter somewhere in your vehicle, even if you don't smoke. You never really know when you're going to need to stay warm or, some sort of a raincoat or windbreaker or something. Just to help you stay dry. Like I said, vehicle breaks down. Trust me, as someone who stays in vehicles almost all day, every day, after a couple hours in a vehicle, the only thing in the world you want is to get out of that damn thing, regardless of the weather.
I told you this before. I think I told you, Stump. I got caught in a winter storm in the White Mountains in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of the worst weather you'll see. Okay. And there's no way I was going through this pass. It just wasn't happening. Problem being was I couldn't turn around either.
Yeah.
All right. State trooper came by. Stump knows the story because I told him. State trooper comes by, and I got a fire going. All right. And I said to him, "Am I in trouble for the fire?" He's like, No. So he winds up giving me his lunch. And I'm up there for 3-something hours plus whatever the hell it was. Waiting for him to clear the road and get a wreck or what have you. So and it's not remote where I was. It's ski country, but it's not remote, the population of the town that I'm in is kind of low, but it's not remote, you know what I mean? Like people go down that road once every, not during the off season, people go down that road probably once every, I don't know, half hour or so.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, it's not, but on this day, there's nobody passing through,
Yeah, because that situation you were in, being mobile was no longer an option.
Yeah, and that was a wake-up call for me because you want to talk about being zero prepared? I'm like, I'm not freezing to death on the side of a highway.
Yeah.
I get out of the truck. I get in the snow. Now I'm friggin' going through the, and I made a fire. I'm like, I'm not freezing to death for anybody.
Well, up in our 400 highs, we have 400 series highways in Ontario, and there was a 402, which heads basically to the border, to the U.S. border, crossing over into Michigan. And that stretch of highway is infamous for the lake effect coming off of Lake Huron. And
That must
the
be
lake
something.
effect, anybody knows about lake effect, which
Lake effect snow.
Yep. Hard, so you understand how fast, how heavy, and how it just, how unexpected that can sometimes come in. Again, this is where I say to people, listen to CBC radio. Well, up in Canada anyway, which is Canadian Broadcasting Center. There, but the idea is that if you listen to the radio often, you get the news, every half hour. You'll know what's going on ahead of the time. And people get distracted with, Sirius radio or when they're at home, Netflix and so on and so forth. They
hang on, stop.
That was just for Fuzzy.
Oh,
all right.
We were talking trapping over there.
Oh yeah. I see that there. But I mean, these guys were stuck on there was hundreds of vehicles that literally couldn't drive no more, and they were stuck. And so eventually they had people bringing out coffee and stuff like that who were able to get out there to these people on the side of the road. But some people were out there for a very, very long time. And again, when you get into the winter weather, now I don't just bring my go bag, my whole 72-hour bug out bag, you know what I mean? Not my I'm never coming home bag, because it's a little bit bigger and it's evolved a little bit more. But that bigger one with all the winter gear, like you were talking about, Mike, making those switch up, I do the same thing for the different types of gear, making sure that, because now any water that I might have stored in the vehicle, that stuff's coming out in wintertime because it'll freeze certainly up here. So little things like that. Some of the electronics are going to come in because it just kills the batteries and such. So like I say, it is a lifestyle. There's no doubt about it. And I guess when you're in Canada or you're up north or you're isolated, you just know that you're in cattle country. You know what I mean? As Jihad said, when you're in cattle country, you're on your own. So you probably are more prepared than the average person. But we talked about, well, why do people not prepare? 75% of Canadians, because I would suggest that we've got pretty close to that number who are in metropolitan areas, cities, suburbans, areas where when you do break down, like you said, Mike, people are more apt to stop. Here's the thing: if everybody's influxed with a major disaster, maybe not as many people may stop. You're still going to have those people with that kind of that hero mindset in the back of their mind. God love those guys and girls, and they're prepared. They're maybe volunteer fire department or whatever the case is, and so they're going to stop and such. I always have a rule. My rule is this: I don't stop and help anybody unless I have the time to do it, it's safe to do so, and I have the resources that I can actually make a difference, right? I want those three things to be present. Now, if I don't have the resources, but I have the time and it's safe to do so, I'll stop, because it may not be the resources they may not need what I think they may need. It might be something small. It might be just something that I know, or a ride, something like that. So those are the kind of the three fundamentals I look at, especially if it's safe. If it's safe to do so, and you got time. Time being that the blazing fire is coming behind you, down the valley. You know what I mean? And you're seeing stuff here. You've got a priority. It's you and your family. And I'm sorry. You know what I mean? If it's a matter of you stopping and jumping somebody aboard, great. But if it's going to put you at odds and it's a risk, well, that's a risk you're going to have to start to calculate, isn't it? So, like everything. But people get caught up in that, though. And they don't calculate the risks, and they end up being a casualty, or a statistic. And that's not good. So. Well, we talk about that with our women too, right? We don't want them to be a stat because they did something wrong. You know what I mean? Or they didn't think something through, and that's I think that's my biggest concern with my my spouse and my sisters and stuff is, what happens, because you hear about it. Not all that often, thankfully, but you still hear about it.
That's a sad thing, but there are some very sick people in the world.
Yeah, I try to get my wife to carry a knife, and with all the knives I got and even the little ones I got and all that, she just won't do it. So I said, okay, I don't pressure her.
Well, we can make her a pretty one, Mike.
Yeah, she won't. She's just not. So what I do?
We make her one.
What I do, right, George, is I tell her when she's either leaving school or she's at the laundromat or she's at the store or whatever. just park as close to the store as you can, which she does.
And always be observant of your surroundings.
And when you're walking into the store, when you're in the store, you're walking out of the store, wherever you're walking, because she's got like 5 or 6, 7 keys on her keychain, you know. And I say, take your keys, put them in your hand, stick 2 keys through your ring finger and your middle finger, and make a fist. And the first person that you feel threatened by, swing.
Same thing I taught my daughter and wife.
Yep.
Swing. You're walking across a parking lot, you're in a parking garage, you know, you're out with the girls, whatever the story may be.
Well, now, I tell you what I did do, Mike, is I took, the resin stuff that I work with.
Yep.
I actually made some small pointy Kublatons out of them that go on the keychain.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Those work nice.
It works very nice. They're probably, I would say, a little more than a 1/4 inch in diameter through the shaft, and they come to a, not a sharp point,
right?
Enough of a point to where it's going to penetrate soft tissue. And plus, they can carry them on their key rings no matter where they go. Both my wife and my daughter work in hospital settings. So even when they go through the metal detectors to go into work, not an issue.
Yep.
And they work very well. Pressure point manipulation, soft tissue penetration.
Oh, yeah.
They work wonderfully.
Yep. And then I teach. I also know they also taught Judge.
What's that?
And I got this from my brother, so it's not like I'm some, You can take the biggest person, toughest person, strongest person in the whole wide world. Okay? And you can take, I don't care how big he is, it just doesn't matter. You take your thumb, okay? You stick your thumb right there on another human being, I can guarantee you they will let go. It doesn't matter how big they are, how strong they are. It's when my brother did his training, right? It's the first thing they told them. First thing they told them.
Well, when I taught close quarters combat, that was one pressure point, but the only problem with that is when you take your thumb or you take your ridge hand or you take the back of your knuckle and you put it in that spot, it's going to make them lift their head, of course, but also all they do is turn their head. But if you take that same thumb and you sink it into their eye socket,
right, then make them come with you. Yep, that'll work too.
That changes the whole. Not only have you caused them to think about their own mortality, you've also blinded them in one eye.
Right. Yep. Because I said to my brother, what are you talking? He says, and he come up from behind me, he's not watched. He says, and he said to me, he says, listen to me. He said, I'm going to tell you, this is going to hurt. Yep. He said, I'm not even going to lie to you. He said, he says, I know you can take a shot, but I'm telling you, this is going to hurt. And as soon as he did it, I'm talking as soon as he did it, I put my hand in between, and I oh my God, I wanted to kill him.
Tears in the eyes,
absolutely. But it was enough for me to make me go like this, Right. So maybe sometimes that's all you need. You know what I mean?
But my daughter, she's 5 foot tall and weighs 95 pounds, and she's a grown woman. So, the options like that aren't as viable for her as, say, me, 200-pound guy.
Right.
So, she said, well, what about kicking them in the groin? I said, listen, when adrenaline's going, a groin kick doesn't bother you. But, you stop somebody's breathing or you stop their eyesight, they stop.
Yeah. And the other thing I always, and I always say to people, and to guys too, it's just my wife and my 2 sisters. I say to them, it's very hard for people to fight if they can't stand up. It's really not a, rocket scientist theory. Yeah. And like for instance, this guy at work a few years back, he wanted to get all, hot and bothered and everything, and so he came a little bit too close to my little world
space.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got in your
so
bubble.
and so because I said to him, I was, listen to me, dude. I says I broke the first and second vertebrae in my fucking neck. I says I took a shot from a freaking 5-inch round maple tree. Okay, I says I didn't get out. I says you're not gonna knock me out unless you have something in your hand, so don't even bother trying. I says now, but I'm gonna tell you something. I can guarantee you, I'm not gonna punch you in the mouth. I'm not gonna kick you in the nuts. But I'm gonna guarantee you that you're gonna go down, and it's gonna be very hard for you to stand. Am I helping you out at all? Looking at me. I says to my sister, I go, listen. Finally, the kid figured it out, right? I says to my sister, I says, listen. I says, you take your right foot. She says, yeah. I said, you got to be quick at it. You can't be like, slow Joe. I said, you take your right foot and you kick the inside of his right knee. I says, if you kick it hard enough, trust me when I tell you, there's nothing you can't stand on it. And she's looking at me going, I never thought of that. Are you kidding me?
That's how I used to set up rear naked chokes.
I never... I'll tell you what. I seen a kid do it. This is probably, I don't know, 11, 12 years ago or so. And this kid was tiny. And I can't believe how fast he could kick to begin with, okay? But this kid, he had work boots on. It worked perfectly. And the kid he kicked, you can see it was disgusting, to look at. But and all he said was, I told you to leave me alone.
Yeah.
But people don't understand that, everybody wants to punch somebody in the mouth. You can do that. If you're, big enough and the person that you're going to hit small enough and you connect and you can knock that person down on one shot, that's fine. But
quickness, like you said,
the absolute.
I don't wait. If they got a fist clenched, if they got a hold of me, it's almost it's go time.
Absolutely. There is no.
If they shift,
hey, what are you doing?
If they jerk towards me, I mean, you get that 1,000-yard stare, shit like that. As long as I can articulate myself to a law enforcement, because that's the only one that I worry about, the one who can hold me responsible, right? This motherfucker's going down. If he's going to be a threat, and I've already given him the warning, my hands are here. Don't want no trouble. Stop. I'm clear. Don't want no trouble. Stop. You know what I mean? I'm making distance. I want to create distance. Get the fuck back. And now you've got him. If he's going to come into that area, let him give you the gifts. If he gives you a hand, if he touches you, that's a gift. That hand right there, oh my Jesus, you just got so much manipulation power. The other thing is give him that left poke. When you put that shoulder back, he opens right up here because most likely his hand's going to come down to what that left. Yep. This here is open for a brachial stun. And this is just, it's a 45 right from the neck, aiming for this armpit. And that basic, just a hit here on that 45, about 22 pounds of per square inch of what you're looking at here of pressure on that hit. And it's not a lot. You don't even have to knock them out, but it's going to dummy them. It was my signature thing in bouncing and law enforcement. If it was too close where I couldn't make the distance because I had to hear them because it was loud in the bar, I was trying to get them away from the, let's go over to the door. I can't hear you. And you're smiling, because you're still their friend. Come on over. I want to talk to you. And you get them close to the door. Now you've got a short distance to move them. But those joint manipulations and stuff, if you can get a course to really practice those things and to have a spouse or something that you can lovingly, work on these things with, certainly. Kicks and such, you want to be careful because in adrenaline and such, it's hard to make definitive hits because adrenaline, and you're not doing it every day.
You don't want to miss.
You know what I mean? That's it. When I'm saying women, I'm talking about slapping to this triangle. The eyes, the nose, these things, the hands get up there. When the hands get up there, you can grab the hands and push them away to create distance. Don't turn your back. create distance, and only turn your back when you know that you've got this, you know, and you can get the fuck moving, you know, or get out to get a defensive weapon or whatever the case is, right? But yeah,
absolutely.
You know, my 2 cents on that, kind of backing it up just a little bit. And here again, this goes back to the, you know, the motorcycle club days. A lot of us that were, just being honest, go ahead and say it, we're in that trade. Your first line of defense against everything, no matter where you go, no matter what you do. You know, individuals refer to it as the 40 or the 50-foot circle. You own everything inside that circle. If there's so much as a fly farting, you fucking know it. You pay attention to every damn thing in your immediate area.
Oh, absolutely.
Inside that circle, you've already got planned ways out, what is a threat, what is not a threat, what can be used to your advantage in the event of a threat. That little small circle gives you enough response time if something goes wrong. Like Luke just said, if they close that distance, that gives you ample time to get to whatever you need to on your person to deal with them. And the first thing to remember, once they start closing that distance, they've decided to attack you on some level.
My dad used to tell me they're going to whoop me, they might as well already have slapped me.
Yeah. And here's the thing, when they start closing that distance, they've made the decision you're going to fight. So your job is not to get him off of you. Your very first effort at doing anything should be a full-blown intention to kill that son of a bitch. If you go into that fight trying to just get him off of you, you're asking to get your ass whipped or dead.
Yeah.
The very first punch you throw, the very first strike you make, had better damn well be an intent to end everything.
Yeah.
When I was doing the bars and all that, right? My motto, and as you can tell by my no grill and all that, you know, my motto was hit or be hit. And, you know, like Luke was saying earlier about, you know, you feeling threatened. And I already told you guys about when the you know, 6-foot guy punched me square in the face, and he was just looking to see what was behind in the cigarette machine for cigarettes. And I thought he was going to kill me. But that's just the way, you know what I mean? Like Stump was just saying. I saw this, and it's happened to me in Boston and bars in Boston, and you know, accidents happen.
I stopped going to bars.
You know, accidents happen, but you know,
I did.
I stopped going to bars because drunk people like to fight too much.
Well, yeah, I stopped going to bars.
That's number one. Don't be in the area.
But I'll tell you,
I stopped going to bars. 2 years after I started bouncing. Then I went to bars when I was actually in control or I was in charge. It was the only
Exactly.
ever.
Well, the funny thing is that, like, all right, so where I grew up, the town I grew up in, you know, even as a kid, you know, growing up, you get in a fight, you might throw a knee shot every once in a while, you know, but nobody kicked back then, unless you were getting tuned by a couple of guys, you know.
Right.
It was just, you just used your hands, you know.
Yep.
Like I said, the occasional knee to the chest and knee, whatever. But other than that,
That's the way I used to feel.
You were considered
kicked to the jaw.
Yeah, you were considered a wuss if you kicked some. You were considered a girl if you kicked someone because only girls kicked, right? Now you go less than 10 miles to this city that's beside me, okay? Because that's how far it is from where I grew up, okay? And the same era in the 80s, and you're taught, get that trash can cover, grab that 2x, you know, grab that tire iron. I'm dead serious. It was a whole different thought process.
Yep, those guys fight dirty.
Exactly, right?
There's no such thing as a dirty fight.
Now, see, I know that now, but back then, right? So now it's, wow, all those times I thought those people were like nuts using a trash can cover or whatever. And no, it wasn't never nuts. We were the guys that, you know, were trying to fight honorably just with our fists. Bullshit. You know.
Something else.
Bottom line, you put me in a situation where I've got to fight. Make no mistake about it. My intention is to kill you. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're trying to kill me. Otherwise, you ain't gonna put your hands on me.
I felt in danger of my life.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Hey, Mike, this is this little Kublaton I was talking about, buddy.
Sweet.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah, I like that.
Let me click on you so when we talk, we're not gonna. All right, there you go. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Heck yeah.
A little D-ring.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Does that have a little bit of flex to it, GI?
Sure does.
Right on.
What did we used to make back in the day? Who would I have to ask? Stevie. Stevie? We used to make the yeah, I knew you were going to show that. Stevie, back
That's
in the day,
a beautiful motherfucker right there.
isn't it? He's just being really mean right now.
Yeah.
Is that mine?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Dude, I'm sweating.
Yeah, you're sweating. Don't even
What'd
talk
I
to
tell
me.
you on the phone, Steve? You were going to shit
told
your
you.
fucking britches, dude.
Holy crap.
Stevie, what did I tell you? When you asked about Georgie, what did him and I tell you?
I don't even remember. Shut up. I'm looking.
Stevie just creamed his pants.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And you better use it too. You better use that on a beaver or something. Or a duck.
And I'm giving you fair warning, Steve. You have no idea what sharp is yet.
Is PG still out there?
I have to switch over. I haven't been out in the chat room in a while, so you guys, if I'm missing something,
I hadn't
Ain't
seen
talked
him
in a while.
fuck Steve, you owe me one.
What does that mean?
Jeff X,
There
how are
he
you?
is.
Jeff, good to see
What's
you.
that mean, PG?
Always a pleasure to see you, Jeff.
Right on.
Mike Deluxe, American Badass. No, Jay Watt, really not. I just
GI, if you remember correctly, PG actually won that knife.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
To me.
Yeah.
That's right. Gosh, I forgot
right.
about that.
Yep. Felicia Sell said that she had a lot of creeps trying to make a move on her. Too many creepy bastards out there. Sucks to be a lady sometimes. And you're right, sweetheart, it does.
Yeah.
But these are some of the things that you can try, you know, if you're out with a friend or out by yourself or what have you. Stevie, what was that stuff we used to make in like machine shop? It almost looked like what Georgie was just showing, except it was either titanium or and this came to a cone, not like that. It didn't come to a point like that. We used to make a tiny little cone at the end.
Man, I don't remember that.
Yeah, they were probably about that long, maybe a little bit longer.
A shiv?
No, it wasn't a shiv. And you can take, you take that, you take the person's thumb and bend it back over there. Bend the thumb over it so you can own them. What the hell did we call them, Stevie?
I don't know what y'all called them, but it's basically the same thing. How do you say it, George?
It's a Kublaton.
Yeah, it looks it's almost similar to what Georgie was just showing.
They all do. I mean, even that one with the flex in it, it all does the same thing. You can use it for. I mean, you're something that small, you're going to use for like small joints like fingers,
exactly, or
behind the ear pressure point,
yep.
or the nose, or you're going to use it for soft tissue, larynx, if up underneath the ribs, like liver area, something like that. But the bigger Kublatons, ones that are about 6 inches, you can actually use those for wrist locks. You can use them like he was talking about with the brachial stuns. You can use it along that nerve bundle that runs along the clavicle. That one, Mike, you say you never been knocked out. I guarantee you get hit there, your lights are going to go out, buddy.
Never knocked out. I actually pride myself in not being knocked out.
Well, I had never been knocked out before.
From a human. Well, from a human punch, I should say.
Until I caught a palm grazing across the side of my neck. He put one hand on the side of my head and did this.
Yep.
And dude, my knee buckled. I've never been knocked out, but my knees buckled, and it was just like a flash.
Oh, yeah. The white dots go off, and you had the fireworks are going off, and you. But you're not. See, like I tried to explain to my brother when I got hit in the face with the tree, right? And that tree came back and just punched me. I mean, just went. I mean, it was just like wicked lightning fast, right? And I said to him, and they were all making fun of me. They goes, "You dummy! That tree looked like a catapult. You had no business cutting that tree." Da 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 da. And I go,
"That's how I got my nose broke the first time."
Well, I said to him, I go, bottom line, did I get down? He goes, no. He says, but really, did you know what your name was? I go, yeah. I said, but the problem was the problem was I knew I was hurt. So what I immediately tried to do was light a cigarette. And I realized I couldn't do that because my top lip is like dangling a little bit, and it was just, I had a big ass hole in the fucking thing. And so, that wasn't going to happen. I'm smoking.
See, the thing
I'm smoking a cigarette out of the corner of my mouth,
Human physics are human physics, and some people have stronger, neck muscles and things like that keep their jaw from compressing and, pinching that nerve. But when you can get to that nerve without having to use the compression of the jaw, there's no helping. Your knees are just going to buckle. There's just no way around it. It's going to happen. You just can't fight the physics because what you're doing is cutting off the electrical signals going to the brain.
It's an interruption in the C1. Basically, it's an interruption there. It's a jarring that it's just instantly. It's such a weird thing to watch happening. It's a weird thing to actually have it happen to you. First time, you can't do it. It's like a sleeper hold. My dad always said back when I was really young, his thing was he was a bouncer for a few years. His was a sleeper hold. We got away from that for obvious reasons, not camera friendly. But he's joking him. This way here, certainly like I was saying, it's you're trying to push the guy away, and it looks like you missed him. That's all it looks like. You missed him. It's happened so fast.
And his knees buckle.
Yeah. With a hand, your hand certainly comes back behind the person's head, and just basically you just come up, and it's only about a 4-inch space there, and you're almost coming in and just giving this area right here just a quick tug. When you give that quick tug, I've only had it happen twice where the person's actually lost consciousness, wet themselves, they void the bowel. Well, not avoid the bowel certainly, but they wet themselves certainly, incontinent, and that's twice though. But the other times it stuns them enough that they basically just kind of fall into you, and you're just kind of walking with them, and it kind of shakes them up a little bit. Like, holy shit, he did nothing to me, but yet I just had that happen. All of a sudden there's a respect there that comes almost instantly.
Oh, absolutely.
I think also when it happens, in my experience, is that you lose your ability to. You lose your cognitive ability.
Yeah, to think.
Yeah, I mean, you lose your decision-making ability when that nerve is struck. I mean, it's like, and that gives the person that does it enough time to move a person into a control situation or create enough distance to get away from a situation.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
You speak my language.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing about you. So, no, that absolutely, because if you can get them in that control position, then you can maintain that control until you put them to a place they want. You want them to be, whether it's outside, putting a barrier between you and them, two friends. Wait till you get some other people with you to give you some more backup, whatever the case is, right? Best I always say is create distance. One more thing when I'm on the point.
Okay.
Before everything, and this is one skill set that I think everybody needs to get back to, because this is such a great thing, but it's such a bastard thing too, because our situational awareness goes to shit in a handbag. And younger people and ladies, mean, I don't mean to pick on y'all, but damn it, I see it all the time. And this through a parking lot is a fucking no-no.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
your situation awareness goes straight down to the drain. You don't see that guy who's been actually watching you through the entire parking lot, walking parallel, just a car length over. And you get to your vehicle, and bang, that's when it happens. As soon as your car door goes open. You know, and it's, you know, so like I said, situational awareness is huge. And being able to always predict that, you know what, this could happen, this could happen. Where's my, you know, where's my escape route? You know, how am I getting out of this? Where's my concealment? Where's my cover? You know, especially if you're somebody who carries, right? I guess, and you worry about that in your area. You know, I think you should always be thinking about that best you can, but not everybody's programmed like we all are. So I get that too, but I don't know.
Nope, absolutely.
You definitely have to own that 40 to 50 foot around you in any direction. You have to.
Absolutely. Consider anything within 25 is potentially lethal, right?
Yeah.
Anything within 25 feet, that's potentially lethal now. And I think that's a reasonable response, right? Anything with a gun, it doesn't matter. You know, 40 to 50 feet, that's lethal. You're starting to get outside of that because most people ain't that well practiced and they'll fucking hit you within that range. But like I said, it's unless they're putting a few down range at you. But like I said, I don't want to take the chance. I don't want to be in that situation first and foremost. Don't look right, fuck back out of it. Don't go into it. You know, don't look right.
Right.
Don't look right. Go back into the store.
Right on.
Jeff X said that he was never knocked out by a punch, but he did fall off the hood of a car one time. So,
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I met a pool table one night right here. Right, it was the let me see.
Table or two?
It was 4 months before I broke my neck, and the the big ass pool tables and the old wood with the old oak wood. You know what I mean?
Oh
like
yeah,
the old nice Brunswicks and stuff.
Yeah, the tall pool tables and not the short ones, and you know, it's just a real beautiful wood around the hole, right? Well, my back of my head met one of those one night.
I bet you alcohol was involved.
A little bit.
a little bit.
Hey, first time I was ever knocked out, I was sober.
All right. Yeah.
100% chance there was alcohol involved. 75% chance there was a woman involved. Just saying.
Yeah, right. Or a relative.
No, it was a card game that went disarray.
Oh, the 50% is money.
Yeah.
Well, on mine, it was 100% a woman involved, and I was painfully sober. And the bitch killed the truck. Sorry, shouldn't call her that, but damn, I'm still pissed.
Poor guy.
Yep. The old card games of whatever we used to play. We used to play poker and all different, you know, all different games of poker. And one of the guys I was dealing, and one of the guys says, "Mike, pick your money up off the table, put it in your pocket, do it quickly." And I did it. And he says, "Grab your beer." You know, what's going on? He says, "Grab your beer." And I grabbed my beer, and he tipped the frigging table. You know, it's one of those round tables, seats like 10 guys, you know, 10 people, whatever. And he just takes the table and goes, whoosh. And I stood up, and then, of course, then the fight broke out. And then I don't even know how it happened. All I know is I woke up, and there's like 6 cops standing over me going, "You all right?" I'm like,
I don't know.
As soon as the fireworks stop going off in my head, I'll be fine.
I tell you,
more fellas getting a fight over a quarter on the pool table than anything.
Yep.
Hell yes.
Beat the table. You want to win?
Thing that'll show you stars too.
You want to play pool? Beat the table. You want to play dots? Beat the guys at the dot board. If you can't, go home.
He was talking about a sleeper hold a minute ago, but I don't know if any of y'all and being choked out
can't be pleasant.
Being choked out is not a good term for it because you're not choked. You just lose all the blood flow to your brain, and it only takes about 8 seconds.
Yeah,
if that much. If you're inebriated or stoned, it takes less. I found that out. But those pretty rainbow lights that you see as consciousness fades,
kind of like the one behind you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a restriction from the blood flow, right? And that's what you're doing. But to other people, certainly in law enforcement, they teach this very, very firmly. anything that looks like a choke, be very careful because you're going to be scrutinized the fuck on it.
Oh yeah.
And it's highly illegal here in Canada. Certainly, it's against the law. It's a prohibited move. You're not allowed any variation of a choke whatsoever. So, yeah, sorry.
In the prison system, they said, thank God it was a long time before they got cameras in all parts of the prison that I worked in. But if they did not teach it to you in training, you're not allowed to use it.
Right. Well, that's how it is here too.
Bars, they didn't teach rear naked chokes.
Yep. And does that hold true, Georgie? Excuse, I don't mean to interrupt you, but does that hold true for like your pepper spray and your well, they don't use batons anymore. They use what they call it. You had to be PR-24s. Yeah, you have to be around here, anyways. You have to be trained in all things to use it. So, in other words, like I said, if you have pepper spray in your gun belt, then guess what? You're getting sprayed in the face with pepper spray, and you're going to be trained on it. And if you're not, you're not. They're not allowed. Of course, they're union cops up here. I don't know if you guys have the union cops, but they're not allowed to carry.
We don't have police benevolence down here.
We do.
But I know I wished we did down here. But as far as pepper spray goes, when I first started at the prison, I wasn't but a year out of the military. And when they pepper sprayed me, I was like, what's this supposed to do? Because you spend enough time getting hit by tear gas.
The pepper spray.
Pepper spray, I mean, it made my ear hurt.
Oh, really?
I'm like, what is this crap y'all are spraying me with? They're like, get to the water. I'm like, well, put it in my ear. I'm drenched with, pepper spray. Now, I'm sure now, 10 years later, if you spray me with pepper spray, I'd cry like a little girl and go jump.
That's better, because I was slightly embarrassed because every time, all 8 times, I know because I'm keeping fucking track. When you get pepper sprayed, you remember that shit. I'll be honest with you.
I've been pepper sprayed. It hurts. And I did my accident.
I'm a mess. I'm a mess. It's I feel so bad.
React different ways to it. We had some people that wasn't even as bothered as I was, and then you had some people. It looked like you just smacked them in the face with a 10-pound frying pan.
Yep, that's me. That's me right here. Yeah.
He's scared of the guy who grabs a bag of Doritos and starts rubbing them on his face and eats them.
You spray me with CS, I'm going to cry like a little girl.
The cop had the worst aim in the world. He goes to pepper spray this kid who I'm like 2 people behind him or whatever, you know what I mean? And the son of a bitch ducked and the cop let it ride. And I just went, you're kidding me. And I'm like, what the? I wouldn't open my eyes, right? And I'm swearing my head off and yelling at the cop, and you motherfucker, why the fuck you hit me with it? I'm the good guy. And oh my God.
Dude, I saw an officer try to spray in front of a fan. I'm like, you're not kidding. The prison I worked in had adjoining floors. So when you had a situation go out, you had an officer out on the floor and you had an officer in the officer station. And when you had a situation go on, you called for cover, and one of the officers would come up from downstairs, take the control station, and you go out and you assist your partner. Well, I got called for cover, and I'm standing there in the officer station, and these inmates are doing these things, and we had these big old fans because there was no AC in the prison I worked in. An inmate was standing in front of it, and he goes to spray it, and the inmate moved, and it hit the fan, and it just drenched the officer. I'm like, you are an idiot.
That must have been like a sawed-off shotgun type deal. You know what I mean? That was just.
I mean, it was like a fogger. But it also worked to your advantage. If you had several inmates fighting in the day room, you point the fan towards them and spray it behind the fan.
Right.
They all started coughing and.
Yep.
But then I sprayed them, and they paid no attention to it and just kept going like you wouldn't believe. I mean, when adrenaline kicks in, pepper spray is like, it's like getting kicked in the num-nums.
Pepper spray is one of those things where it wasn't my first. Honestly, I'd be more apt to pull up at my baton normally because that's more, to me, it's more visually intimidating. That fact of that, that ass clicking out. And when that sucker clicks out, basically, it's like, you know what? You don't stop, you're dropping. And usually things, they tend to, the pepper spray is one of those things where they want to kind of deacon shit. And I've had it not work. And then I've had to drop my pepper spray because I can't get it back into its pouch, certainly, and now I'm into hand-to-hand anyway. So it's like, I might have been better off just doing it that way. But then again, you just, again, practice, training. Those officers who sprayed inside the jail, not seeing that fan behind them, they should have already understood that. You're outside, same thing, wind. Where's the wind direction? These are all these things you got to microprocess, in a short period of time. And the more you practice, the more success you're going to have, quite frankly, because really it's a chance game anyways. It really is.
Well, see, we've got progression of force that we had to use. And in the day rooms, there were cameras. And so, if you were in the day room and something broke out in the day room, first thing is verbal. Next thing is soft hands approach. You're allowed to skip into the progression depending on the situation, but you better be able to back it up.
You got to articulate it correctly.
You have to articulate it correctly. You have to write it correctly. And your partner articulate correctly what you did as well.
Right. Look, I looked at it this way. If I couldn't verbally de-escalate the situation or get a hold on it, give the person verbal direction, basically get them to comply with whatever I'm ordering at that particular time, and trying to do it in such a way where I'm not escalating it, because that's also very important. You don't want to make it worse by what you're doing. You know what I mean? That's huge. So I don't know. I digress because I'll go on. Anyway, go ahead.
But you do have those people out there that verbally they never de-escalate a situation. They like poking the dog at the end of the chain.
Yeah.
And those are the people that I can't stand. Those are the people that I don't want to be around. Those are the people I never wanted to work with because they cost me so much time and paperwork and sitting and talking to the State Bureau of Investigation and all kinds of stupidity. I'm glad I'm not there anymore.
No, that's right. You got to keep it appropriate, keep it reasonable. You know what I mean? Appropriate and reasonable are slightly different, in that sense. They're very much interrelated and they very much follow each other. But it needs to be appropriate, and it's appropriate response. It's a reasonable response. What you've done, or the reaction was reasonable, the force was reasonable. And then, of course, it has to be when you've considered those two things. Usually, then, you're justified. And if you're justified, then it's going to be lawful. And then you don't have to worry about your articulation as much as it is sequential. You know what I mean? If you've got that down, everything's fine. And that's what the everyday person. You're a concealed carry, open carry, whatever. You're a person who's got something on your keychain, whatever the case is. Remembering those chain of events, right? And that's hard because normally we don't really plan for that. But you can train yourself. Driving to work, whatever the case is, and so on. Situational awareness.
Also learn your verbiage.
Yeah.
But just to go backwards on what y'all were talking about there for a minute, Luke brought it up, that ass baton.
Yeah.
You remember when they first came out? They were the coiled spring, like spring steel, individual coil that telescoped out.
Yep.
I can tell you from experience what you just said about the visual stimulus of that thing, 100% accurate, because if you have ever in your life been hit with that fucking thing, all it takes is to see that somebody, you become 100% compliant. I promise you.
Well, and I say, look, you know what? I'm saying, like, if they don't take their hands out of their pockets, so appropriate response could be certainly pepper spray. You know what I mean? The hands won't come out of their pockets. They keep walking towards you. You're like, look, stop. Get your hands out of your pockets, right? Turn around. You're under arrest at this point. You're advancing on me. That's assault, right? Words, acts, gestures. What I believe that you're capable of doing, there it is. Okay, so, in that situation, it's just like, okay, you know what? You don't stop at this particular point. I'm going to strike you with an impact weapon. And that comes out. He's already assaulted. His hand's in his pocket. I don't know what's in there. At that particular
point. Could be
a
bunny rabbit. Could be a hand grenade. You never know.
That's good enough to pull your junk on him as far as I'm concerned, right? Especially after that frickin' second warning. Up here in Canada, due diligence, that's been done. You know what? Get your hand out of your pocket. Now you're being aggressive. You're not stopping. You're not following my directions. It could be even a language barrier. But I'm sitting there going, get your hands up. Whoa, dude, hands, get them out. You know, whatever. Like that. Get the fucking hands out. Stop where you are. Leave me alone. I'm out of here. You know, don't turn your back on them. Get the fuck out of it. But
that's one of the big differences between being on the street and being inside a prison is that, you know, our guys didn't have pockets, and they more than likely didn't have handguns. But so the thing about it is, you know, you had to watch out, of course, for shanks, and you had to watch out for impact weapons, because they could take a magazine and make a billy club out of it that will rock your world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. A little water, a little toothpaste.
Well, it's wood after all.
Yeah, that's what it is. They turn it back into wood, and that thing will rock your world. Careful. But, you know, the thing about it to me is, you know, if their hands were above their waist, they were a threat. You know, if their hands were above their waist and they were walking towards me in a threatening manner, that's all the calls I needed.
Yeah, you're justified. You know, exactly. To be articulation, it's your observation. You know, it's it. You know, yeah, I felt threatened at that time. I gave him plenty of warning to stop where he was. He didn't stop. That's it. I'm not going to wait for him to, you know, to injure me. He may only get one strike. That might be the devastating blow that you never come back for him. He gets the total advantage, and you die.
Yeah, it only takes one strike for him to take your weapon from you.
That's it. Hey, just to be a warning. Anybody who watches this program, you've now been warned. Okay. Everybody has that right. If you've been warned to stop, don't get in my space, I think you have that right. You know, it's a liberty, man. You can't infringe them on that. And they have the right to defend that up to death. So, you know, it doesn't take much to be able to articulate that, quite frankly. So, no.
See, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, because they've never been in that type of situation on the law enforcement side.
Well,
is that you don't always have the time to cognitively walk through all the steps.
Yep.
Right.
The latter part of that too is that unfortunately up here in communist Massachusetts, it's actually not just in Massachusetts, but what a lot of people don't realize is that, well, you guys obviously know that you already are correct, but you know, with your personal space and all that, you have that right to protect yourself. On the court side of it, or on the other side of it, you don't want to become the aggressor all in the same motion.
That's right.
Because what happens is, if somebody threatens you, you protect yourself, like Luke and Georgie was saying. Most definitely. However, you can't, in the same spot, become an aggressor. In other words, Stump punches me in the face once. Okay? Now, I have the right to defend myself. That doesn't give me the right to punch Stump like twice, and then Stump goes down to the ground, and then I sit on Stump's chest, and I just start wailing the fucking piss out of him.
That's right.
Now I'm the aggressor.
You exert enough force to put the situation back into control, and you stop.
Right. But people don't separate the two. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't, I should say. Some people don't. And they wind up like they had it here in that town I grew up in, at the ice rink. Two hockey dads get in a fight. Okay? And the guy got hit 4 times. He's like, dude, knock it off, because he was bigger. He's like, dude, knock it off. And I guess on the fourth shot he took, he didn't want to take anymore. And he tuned this guy. And people that saw the fight said he hit the guy about 15 times. Okay? After he was hit 4 times, he hit the guy 15 times. The guy wound up falling and dying. Okay? The guy spent 6 years in jail for manslaughter.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, obviously, you didn't mean for the guy to die, obviously, but
No, it's
you
a heavy
know,
sentence, really.
huh?
It's a heavy sentence. I mean, really, up in Canada, you wouldn't get that kind of time
Oh yeah.
because
Well,
his
it's
intention
Massachusetts
wasn't killed.
again. It's Massachusetts, so that's what I'm saying. You know, this is
You know, I get it. I completely get it. But that's it, right? The unforeseen. We don't know, right? So
right.
just like Georgie said, it has to be. What's good for a police officer is good for you guys. You know what I mean?
Yep.
In almost every sense, right? Except the pursuit aspect. You
Right.
have no obligation to pursue the person. Do you have the right to pursue a person? Yes, absolutely. You can pursue them, but there's some parameters with that. Should you? No. That's why you have insurance. You know what I mean? There's certain things that you don't. You've got your 4-year-old in the back. Maybe it's not a good idea to pursue them. I know that's a hard thing to understand and a hard thing to say, but again, even police pursuing somebody can push that person to do things that they wouldn't normally do, which can cause a secondary event, which is certainly could be more devastating than the primary. Anyway, getting away from that, but it's. I think that most people should at least understand the basics of law and how it goes. When it comes down to force, if you are a person who thinks, you know what, I could be in a situation, then understand the fundamentals of it, at least the basics, right? If you're not sure, YouTube has the answers. I promise you, there's somebody out there on YouTube that's very smart, and they're giving you most likely a pretty good answer, right? How can I defend myself? And look at it from a state by state, because some places have doctrine law where you can actually shoot the person just because they're in their backyard, which I don't
That'd be my
recommend.
state.
Castle.
Castle doctrine, exactly. And
Castle.
that blows my mind. But
Isn't it? It is, but it's funny as all hell. It really is. It's
not for my lawnmower. Buddy's got my lawnmower. I'm not going to end the
exactly.
man's life. Not going to.
See, in Massachusetts, they consider because they had a guy here in town. Somebody broke into his house, okay, and he sent his wife and kids in the car and parked them across the street somewhere. He went into the house, and the court told him, because you went back into the house, you put yourself, you and your family weren't at risk.
Right.
And okay, but then you re-entered your home. He goes, well, it's my home. I have the right to re-enter my home. He says, nobody said you didn't have the right to re-enter your home. However, you don't have the right to shoot him either.
Right.
Because you weren't defending your life at that point. You were defending your life at the point when you were outside your home and your wife and children were with you. Once you re-entered your home, he wasn't
aggressor.
Well, almost like the aggressor, but he didn't. What's the fuck? They use some terminology, but you don't.
It's a big word.
As soon as the four of them were out of the house, okay, that threat was over.
Yeah, because they were safe. When he decided to return into the house,
right,
to be an aggressor or try to, take his home back or whatever.
Exactly.
At that point, he was an attacker. I don't care who says what on the stand. Bottom line, you've got everybody, including yourself, safe, and you go back into the allegedly dangerous environment.
No, it gets back.
You went in there to try and hurt somebody.
It gets back to South Carolina. They have the castle law. The castle law would have covered that here in Massachusetts, whereas he wouldn't be in trouble as he is up here had he lived down in there or another state that has the castle doctrine.
Yeah.
Shoot, when I lived in New Orleans, it was a law down there. I could shoot somebody in my neighbor's yard if they were trying to break into their house.
Yeah, we have that here. And the way our castle doctrine works, say I'm in my vehicle or I'm in one of the company vehicles.
That's your castle.
Somebody tries to break into it. Well, guess what? I'm occupying that piece of property. That's my bubble. That's my castle.
Yep.
You try to come into my vehicle or company vehicle, whatever, and I've done told you no, I can put as many hollow points as I want in your chest, and I'm 100% legal.
Good night, Philly. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, night,
Good luck in your license tomorrow. That's awesome that you're doing that.
Right. Night, Phil, and good luck on whatever's going on there. But another thing here in South Carolina, this is where things get weird. Okay.
What?
Let's
When they
say,
kissed his sister? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. Say I'm well within the legal confines of the Castle Doctrine.
Yep.
Okay. You kick my door in. I put 2 rounds of double-aught buck in your chest. I'm not going to jail.
Right.
If I take that same 12 gauge and I put 2 rounds of rock salt into your hide, I'm going to jail for a long, long time.
Yes, that's
Really?
Yeah. You know why that is?
Yes,
Well,
because at that point, I'm making an attempt to maim.
Right.
I'm deliberately inflicting as much damage as possible.
kind of like the police officers.
Usual punishment.
Isn't it kind of like the police officers when you guys are trained to use? Remember the old? But all right, now I'm going back. Okay, but certainly George remembers the old batons. Okay, and you'd have that handle there, but they were trained, right?
That's a PR-24.
Right. Correct me if
I've
I'm
got
wrong.
one of those I took away from a cop one night.
But correct me if I'm wrong, right? So those were trained to hit somebody from the elbow up to here and from the hip just above the kneecap. They weren't trained. So in other words, if you came across somebody's elbow or you cracked somebody in the kneecap, you cracked somebody in the ankle, you were screwed. Well, up here you were anyways.
No.
Up here, see, again, up here you are. Up here, if you crack somebody in the kneecap, you were screwed.
Even if you crack them across their skull, it's a no-no, right? But you never say, when they say, where was your intent? When you get on the stand, because that's, look, even if you're legal, most likely there's going to be a court case, whether it's criminal or whether it's civil, right? Exactly. Most likely. Yeah. So your articulation, and this is the importance of not talking to the police. Even when the cop comes up to you and says, fuck Mike, you know what? We got the guy out there. He's going to live. So we're going to ask you a few questions. I just got to say one more time, Mike, you did a fantastic job here tonight. You really protected your family. We've been looking for this guy. You know what I mean? You're feeling good. And we're going to ask you a few questions here. You know what I mean? Just take a few seconds. Detective's going to come in and talk to you. And he's asking all great things. And every other freaking sentence, he's telling you how good of a job you did. And you're telling him everything. But meanwhile, everything you're sitting there saying to him can be used against you. And you have to keep that in mind. So just because he sounds friendly, you just go, yeah, I may have, I don't know, but I want to talk to my lawyer. You know what I mean? But look, there's really no need for a lawyer at this point. Before I even talk to y'all, I think I really want to pass this by my lawyer because, man, this is really going fast and I just want to slow shit down. Nothing wrong with that. And if the cop is actually worth the salt, he'll understand it and he might pressure you a little bit. Like I said, slow shit down. But articulation is everything. So your intent was never to hit the man on the side of the skull with this thing. Your intent was to hit here. But through certain aggression, your subject is most likely going to move, especially when you're swinging. That's it.
He's not going to hold still for you.
He moved. Right. I mean, my intent was to hit him here in the upper arm, and that was my intent.
That's to numb it, right? That's the
my follow through. My intent was going to be the next left lower leg, or left upper leg. Sorry. So the upper leg quadrant. Right. Ideally, the outside of the thigh. That was going to be my secondary strike, and I was already planning for my secondary strike because I want to stop this threat. Stop this threat, right? Not kill him, not maim him, not break his fucking head. Stop this threat, right?
Yeah.
So what works for a police officer, what works for a civilian, just fine. Except that pursuit factor, and that's what we talk about. Except Castle Doctrine, you have no obligation. Do you have a right? Yes, in some cases you do have a right to pursue, just as much as a police officer, but there is very much limited, right?
That's a lot of gray area here, though, with that.
Oh, you wouldn't.
But now, like you were just talking about using a baton or any kind of a striking device.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the old school mag lights.
Yep.
If you sit there and tell the cop, the judge, the lawyer, the whatever, well, my intent was to hit that arm. But at that point here, you're going to jail. Because if you had the ability to have the conscious of mind to plan or execute or pick targets, so to speak, during your defending of yourself, basically an assault against this individual of equal or greater than what he's given you. Well, if you could do that, you had the time to find a way out of it.
Well, see, I'm in trouble already. I've been a martial artist since I was 12.
Yeah.
I'm coming towards you. I've already picked my targets.
Yeah. You can do that, but when it comes down to all the questions, like Luke was just talking about, here you have to tell the officer, you know, Mister, I'm just going to be real honest with you. I pointed my gun in that direction, and I pulled the trigger a few times. Or he was in front of me, I just started swinging.
Well, you know, it's like some people are under the opinion. Well, no, they're under the what the hell's the word I'm looking for?
Assumption?
Yeah, they're under the assumption that if somebody breaks into your home, that you have to shoot them. You really don't. Obviously, you really don't have to, because that couple of things got to happen here. Obviously, you're going to make a mess, right? And then, yeah, you're law abiding. You had all the rights in the world to do it. You had all the, you know, everything was behind you 100%. But it's still your choice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's always a choice. Now, if you take and rack a shotgun and they run out the front door, God bless you and God bless them.
Yep. Me personally,
you averted a messy situation.
Me personally, all depending upon what the case may be. But you know, like we'll do it on the ladder. It was just a simple break-in, right? There was nothing. So in other words, you know, he wasn't. You know, this person or people weren't doing anything they weren't supposed to my family. We'll say, okay, we'll try to keep it a little bit, you know, less graphic. But most likely hold that person at gunpoint and make them call 911. Yeah, I broke into the homeowner's house and he's making me call you guys to send a cop.
That's awesome. I want to hear that 911 tape. I really do.
I really would. I swear to God, I would.
No shit.
Put it on speaker and say, yep, my name is Mike DeLucia, da-da-da-da-da. I live at, you know, you guys already have me because I'm on my cell phone. You got me pinged at 63 Greenlawn Ave, da-da-da-da. I have him at gunpoint. I will relinquish my gun as soon as the police walk through the door and handcuff him.
Well, make him lay down on the floor while he does it and cross his feet. At least gives you a little bit more reaction time. Just in case you mix something up and the gun's not quite, you don't have chambered one or the safety's on. Because if someone's coming in and they've got something you perceive as a weapon in their hand, even if they don't.
Oh, they're going to draw it on.
You know, the argument goes both ways. Because it's dark, you know, you got the advantages of your home and you're armed and you're trained on them. But to give them that warning may not be a good idea. They might be in the 15-foot rule, right, as the Tueler drill. You know what I mean? You guys practice in the States. That Tueler drill will teach you that within 15 feet, right, a person with an edged weapon is going to make connection with you before you can get your weapon out and actually return fire to stop the threat. Before it actually, because you could land two, but they can still have that follow through and nip you with that knife, and you're going to get cut. So the idea is that a crowbar, buddy's coming with a crowbar, all of a sudden you go, click, shit, nothing's chambered. You go to freaking cycle that sucker, whatever which way, and he's made connection with you. So someone says to me, as soon as I seen him come through, it looked as though he had it there. He's in my house. There's people in here. I can only assume that why he's there is to harm my family. You know, they say, but how do you know he wasn't there to rob, you know what I mean, your television set? I don't know. He's in my home. The door is locked. It's locked for a reason. That's enough warning right there. And of course, civilized society. So the warning's already there. Up in Canada, we don't have that. And that's kind of unfortunate, really. Even from a law enforcement point of view, I say that's unfortunate because I think you should. I think we should also have the right to protect ourselves by any means necessary, including and up to carrying a firearm if we see fit. You know, I think we should have that right. You know, you can protect yourself by any means necessary, but you can't shoot the person. But you just said by any means necessary. It's right here in the Criminal Code of Canada. You know what I mean? Yeah, but there's an exception. You know, well, you can, but you can't possess it in that capacity.
Right.
And you're like,
that's the other one. You can't
articulate your way around a sidearm, right, or a firearm, or you can a lead pipe. You know what I mean? That's a flashlight. Because here's a funny story. Truck driver gets hauled into court, and the truck driver beat the fuck out of this guy. He was trying to rob him, right, at a truck stop. And he beat the fuck out of him with his mag light. The guy who got beat up, right, so the victim would be plaintiff in this case. Yep. He's basically, his lawyer is looking at the truck driver saying he took the flashlight apart, the mag light apart, to the hollow tube. And he says, this is what you beat my client with, right? You beat him with a pipe, right?
Yeah.
And he looked at him, he said, no, sir. He took it, put it back all together, and he goes, this is what I hit your client with. It was a weapon of opportunity. That won the case for him. If he hadn't have done that, he wouldn't have walked that day. And that's the fine line, right? By articulation, talking to your lawyer first, maybe. You know, these things like that, right? So, the little things.
Yep.
Just to let you know, all of our states aren't like that. We have different states where you actually have to step aside and let the burglar try to leave.
Yeah.
Before, like Illinois.
Massachusetts, you used to have to retreat.
Yeah.
Basically to a closet or a corner or what have you.
If I'm going to a closet, there's something coming out with me.
Yep.
Right.
There used to be an old saying in Massachusetts: if you shoot them, if they're climbing through your window and you shoot them, make sure they fall inside your house.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
There's something Luke said there a second ago that I don't know. Maybe it's a Southern thing. Maybe it's why it's puzzling me here. You were making reference to, you pull the trigger and click. There's nothing chambered. Is that a requirement there, or I mean, why? No. What's the point of having a firearm that's not loaded, ready to go? I don't understand.
Well, that. You have to give me a little bit of credit in the sense that I am Canadian, so we think a little bit different here. We're prepared a little differently. The average person, farm people, we always kept a 22 or a 12 gauge loaded up on the top shelf back in the day. Those days progressively got less and less people doing that, and now it is a requirement that your firearm certainly be locked up in a safe or the trigger lock on it, something to the point that it can't be functioned, and the ammunition has to be locked away separately.
Right.
So, in essence, you would have to go to the closet, go to the gun safe, unlock everything, load that sucker up, and in the excitement of the moment, you know what I mean? Your missus is behind you saying, "John, shoot him, shoot him." And you're like, "Martha, I'm trying," and you forget. So I guess that's what I mean, right? It's a what if. I don't know.
I mean, seriously, they make y'all go through all of that while the asshole who just broke into your house already has a firearm, a knife, a whatever, ready to rock and roll.
Well, again, Canada, we are not allowed to store firearms for the purpose of defense. That's
really.
That's no. That's
wow. So you can't even take.
But I tell you what, if you have to go through all those motions to make a firearm ready to shoot, I could see a slick lawyer on the other side of the fence bringing that up as premeditated.
It's
oh shit.
A good point. It's squashed by the urgency and of the situation because it is premeditated. Your Honor, yes, this was very much planned. The person wasn't giving me much time, but I was putting a plan together. You're absolutely right, Your Honor. The lawyer's right. I was putting a plan together, and my hope was certainly that the person would just turn around and walk back out of my residence, but that didn't happen. Your Honor, the phone was behind him. There was no phone behind me, and what was between the bad guy and my family was me. I had no choice at that point. So, Your Honor, what this lawyer is suggesting is that I had choice in that matter that day, and there was a lot of choices, but a decision was made, right? And therefore, that decision that was made was not a choice. That was a decision, and it was the right decision. And the courts can decide any which way they want, but you were there that day, and that's the picture that you have to paint in the courtroom, right? And that's what you're doing. You're trying to paint the best, most accurate, chronological picture that you can possibly paint without missing a cue and covering everything. This way, you're the victor. The most evidence brought in, the most pictures, the most video, the most documentation is usually the people who go away the victor in a courtroom setting. You have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And then when the burden is set upon you to prove yourself innocent, then again, same thing. When you get pulled over by a police officer, he's back there. Why is he still on the side of the road while you're driving away from the traffic stop? because he's making notes. He or she, sorry. And he or she is making damn good notes. And so should you. You should be, actually, that officer should be the one pulling away. Because you're not a professional witness, you're not a professional note taker, so I don't expect you to take a little bit longer with it, right? And that's reasonable. But everybody should do that. And not many people understand that and understand the fundamentals of it, and I get it. But you have 3 options on the backside of a ticket that the officer explains to you the reason why you signed that citation, right? It's not an admission of guilt. It's just stating that you've been read your rights on the ticket. You can fight it. You can just pay an early ticket, usually get it a little bit lower. Or you can just pay the full amount or whatever the case is, right? So you can set a trial date or whatever, and I say set the trial date. Fuck them.
I'm still just here again. It's a geographic thing. The whole not being able to store a loaded firearm in your home just.
Well, you certainly can. It's just not legal.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's like right now. I mean, just being honest. Sitting at this desk, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 firearms within arm's reach. Every one of them is fucking loaded, chambered, hammered back, ready to rock and roll, safety's off. That's the way we grew up. That's just, to me, that's normal. It's just wild to me that there's a rule in place that says that's not legal for you to do.
That is nothing but a hammer ready to be used.
Yeah. Mine are a little bit more difficult to get to now that I'm here back in Ontario. In Newfoundland, they were a lot more readily available. I was more isolated. But I even if I did, I wouldn't advertise it just because it's, I don't know who's watching.
See what you started?
I mean, if we're just going to start grabbing what's local, there was Mikey's SIG.
Right.
There's the one Mikey really don't like to see. Currently loaded with subsonic 22 shorts, just because they are a little quieter. It's currently relegated to full-time desk duty.
Yeah, just for the weekend though, right?
No, that stays here. I've got another one now stays in the truck. Well, it's sitting on the couch right now since my truck's fucked.
Damn it.
Well, your truck's fucked and you got fucked, but I mean, you'll be done with that for the weekend though, right?
Oh yeah, and of course, Steve, we talked about this 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Still sitting here propped against the desk, still loaded.
You're unreal.
Well, there's more proof they can't do it on their own, can they? They just
No.
don't hurt people.
Well, nor should they try though, right? Who the hell wants to do that?
You're a GI Customs.
Right here within arm's reach.
I want that one too.
Well, you're going to have to buy that one, Slick.
Oh, I will. With that exact same
You
handle.
ain't getting this one. You can get him to make you one, but you ain't getting this one.
I love that handle.
That looks beautiful.
I'm
going to click off you if you start talking about that, Stump.
I was just going to say, this vicious little critter has been riding everywhere with me. It is one of the 2 fixed blades I carry every day now. And that is, without a doubt, one of the finest, gripping, easy to control cutting instruments I've ever owned in my life. You can manipulate this thing a million different ways. You think about doing it and you realize you've already done it.
Exactly why
George, really, you do fucking amazing work. You do.
Oh, show you something, Stevie. This thing doesn't have an edge on it yet.
Click on him, Mikey. Click on him.
Hang on. It won't let me. There we go.
There's girls out in the audience that are starting to like me because I have a knife.
You see how thin
You don't have a knife. You have a George knife.
You see how thin that is, Stevie?
Right.
That doesn't have an edge yet.
Yes, Mr. Boyd, Mikey is awake. Don't you worry about nothing.
I take them down to about 10 to 15 thousandths before I ever put an edge on them.
I'm Salivating.
And that rides all the way to the top.
Look at that finish.
It looks nice though, don't it?
Steve, dude, I'm telling you, when you do get it there, I'm not being disrespectful to you, but I promise you, you have no concept of what the fuck sharp is yet.
Well, all my videos from here on out are going to start out my knife and duck hunting, my knife and fatwood searching, my knife and gravel looking.
Better keep that knife away from gravel.
Oh, it ain't going to touch gravel, but I might be looking for gravel.
I mean, Steve, you know me. I can take axes down to stupid shaven sharp. I had no idea what the fuck sharp was until that knife got here from George.
Sharpen
I can fillet fucking post-it little memo pad notes. I can turn one into three of them.
Sharpen up to how'd you say it? Sharpen up to shave a frog's ass.
You're damn right. And then when I talked to him and found out, you know, how he does what he does, I really felt fucking insufficient in my ability to sharpen shit then.
The way I do it.
I unclick him now. I forget.
Oh, he's a handsome feller.
Right.
Yeah, you can unclick me anytime now.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Oh, God, here we go. Chat could be over.
Shut up, you bastard.
Just in case y'all, Mikey wants to tell everybody he appreciates y'all coming out and showing the love and support. Uncle Cal, we love you. Hey, I'm just covering some bases for you, brother.
Just in case.
Now I figured out with this beard, it's not a salt and pepper beard. It's more like a salt and cayenne.
Where is...
Whatever you need to tell yourself.
Shut up.
The truth shall set you free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can't hit that button. All right, so now that's back there.
Politically incorrect. Most knife sharpeners out there, unless it's a stone or something like that, they have set degrees, and most of them give you really fat edges. And if your knife did not come from the factory with that specific angle, then it will reprofile your edge to that angle.
Mm-hmm.
And most of your production knives usually have like a 40 degree to 44 degree inclusive angle for a cutting edge, where mine are generally 20 degrees inclusive.
And absolutely perfectly heat treated. That's got to be a defining characteristic of what George does. There's no such thing as a very soft steel edge knife. They don't break.
Night, PG. Well, the thing about it is, with most steels, you got to get your grain structure small. And even I don't care if you're bladesmith or if you're stock removal. Man, you still got me presenting my. Did you go to sleep with me still sitting up here?
Yeah, I'm not asleep. Relax. I'm trying to figure something out.
Okay, buddy. If you don't shrink the grain structure, gotcha. If you don't shrink the grain structure, then you have a more likelihood of chipping out edges and doing all that stuff.
Oh my goodness.
So, you know, I triple draw them. I also normalize them. Even when I do a stock removal, I still bring them up to critical temperature. Look at you. You're awesome. You bring them up to critical temperature, and then you just let them air cool. And what that does is that relieves stresses in the steel. And then when you triple draw them, it just refines that grain structure down. And when I mean that, I temper them 3 times instead of once or twice.
I can tell you from experience with one of his knives in my hand, they are the most useful art you will ever hold in your hand. It'll do anything a knife is supposed to do better than most any other knife you'll ever put in your hand. It'll look damn sexy the whole time it's doing it.
Yeah, that one he's got for that one he's got that Steve's sending my way is
Mike, I love you, but damn, you're
I know,
pushing
right?
it.
I know, right? I mean, that's just scary sharp right there. That's just
Just, and if anybody thinks I'm just, bragging on George's ability because he's my buddy, I'm sure he still has the video on his channel. It's one of my favorites. He's got a knife that he built, and he hammers this thing through the trunk of a car, keeps the knife in frame so you can see it, and after he beats through this trunk and the roof, and I don't remember if you got the hood or not, but this thing still shaves paper like it's not even there.
yeah.
The man knows what he's doing, folks. For real.
That was with a 3-pound hammer too.
Yeah, you beat the shit out of that thing. But you couldn't tell you'd ever hit it with a hammer. I mean, other than the fact it drove it through a trunk.
I did a knife demo at a local gun shop that used to carry my knives. And I had one of my competition choppers. And I was using the back of the competition chopper to baton through wood. And they're like, aren't you going to mess up that knife? I said, look at the back of both of these knives. They were scuffed, but that was it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only danger was me cutting my own dadgum ear off coming back up with that thing.
Oh, that would have been embarrassing.
Yeah, well, it's like last week we were talking about the knives that Stump has and the one I have from Peanuts cars.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, you cut yourself,
That'd be that.
I know why I now know why he sent me a Band-Aid. I'm surprised.
I love the way that looks. I just hate the grind.
I'm surprised he didn't.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't. Send a what do you call it? What's it?
Tourniquet.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, here again, not to poke fun at anybody or try to brag on, what I consider sharp, especially now that I know George. For my taste, I had to sharpen this when it got here.
I'll tell you, there's different levels of sharpness, and there's sharp that'll stay sharp, and then there's sharp that's pretty sharp.
Yeah.
I don't believe in doing mirror edges.
Well, I don't anymore, thanks to you. But
well, there's no use in it. They don't last as long.
Right.
I honestly, unless I'm making a kitchen knife. Now, if I'm making a kitchen knife, I will go up to a 2,000 to 3,000 grit edge. And that's, yes, if I'm making a kitchen knife.
Right.
And it's going to be, it's going to be basically a zero grind, which means basically a full height Scandi grind.
Right.
And it's going to have a micro bevel on it. And, then that edge will go, that'll be on a DMT diamond stone. I'll go up to 2,000 to 3,000 grit on those because, you're slicing tomatoes, you're slicing carrots, Mike's head's drooping. Love you, Mikey D.
Relax, I'm right here. I'm just trying.
I know you are.
Somebody help me out with Jeff over there.
What's
What
up?
about Jeff? Leave Jeff alone. He's all right.
What the hell?
Actually, Jeff kind of sucks because he moved from a great state in Massachusetts down to fucking south somewhere.
you yourself said, Mass was a communist state. Now it's a great state. Make up your mind.
No, it's both. I can say that because I live here. You know what I mean?
But you're starting to remind me of somebody in the old folks' home in the old folks' itis ward.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure.
But for my working knives, I don't go over a 600 grit edge.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, and that's part of what I'm trying to look up here, right? Is there like a scale or whatever that you look up for that, or is that just
It depends on what you're going to use it for.
Okay.
That's like if you say, George, I want you to make me a knife. Okay, my first question is for you, what are you going to use it for? It's not what are you know, it's not what handle material you want. It's not this. I said, what are you going to use it for? And if you tell me I'm going to use it to skin deer, then you're going to get a 600 grit edge. If you tell me you're going to use it in the kitchen, you're going to start making your own sushi, you're going to get a 2000 grit edge. And then that's also going to define what kind of steel I use. I feel the same way, politically incorrect. Matter of fact, a long time ago when I used to make knives, a lot of people would fuss at me. They're saying, it's too pretty, I don't want to use it. I'm like, it's made to be used. I don't care how pretty it is. It's made to be used.
Yep.
Function over form. But yeah, I'm still very obsessive compulsive when it comes to how something looks before it leaves my shop.
Right.
Yeah, Steve's well aware of that now, aren't you, Steve?
Yeah.
Oh, fussy.
Lucky Steve winning the AR. And
Well, I mean, you're gonna put it out the door. You want it to. It's beautiful, and you can get a functional knife that actually looks great too. You know what I mean?
that does really look cool.
You'll only get one or the other. It looks good, you know what I mean, but it doesn't function with a shit. Or, it's like the Opinel. An Opinel is something that the Opinel number 7 is one that I carried on my person for carving.
It's great.
Whittling away. I loved it. I loved it. It never dulled. It was just amazing. I loved the grind on it. I loved the functionality of it. It was beautiful in its own sense, but yet such a simple freaking knife. And you didn't mind if you lost it. Well, you kind of did, but you didn't because it wasn't a lot of money put into it.
Well, 10 more bucks and you get a new one.
But that's just it. But they were such a functional knife. And it was more importantly, and like you just said, it does the job that you're looking for it to do. It don't have to look pretty, but when you can get it looking pretty and functional, well, that's why you're going to pay a little bit more for it. You know what I mean? But
you definitely pay for the pretty.
No, that's right.
Unless you win it or somebody gives you it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then I tend to, my wife's like, she said, I noticed that the Ricasso area there is awful shiny. Why is the rest of the blade not shiny? I said, because he didn't pay for it. You got to pay for that hand rub finish, brother.
That's what she said.
Uh-huh. That's the happy ending. But
yeah, I just found another custom knife guy too.
I used to mirror polish everything I made. Everything. And I didn't charge for it. And then somebody told me one day, said, you are selling that knife for $200 and it has a mirror polish on it, brass bolsters, stabilized burl handles. And I'm like, yeah. He said, you are the dumbest hillbilly I have ever met.
No doubt.
And I'm like, he said, you cannot give your time away.
Right.
He said, you're not necessarily just selling a product, you're selling what you know.
Yeah. Well, when you think about what you're selling a knife for, and I don't even know, but I'll bet you, you're not being fair to yourself for the time spent. It's got to be passion, because if it ain't passion, you know what I mean? But I'll bet you.
I am now. I didn't used to be.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Now I decide to buy a knife.
Yeah.
No, hold on. Brother George, we're really good friends. I mean, you're family to me. We talk on the phone fairly regular. I know what you go through when you're putting a knife together. Brother, trust me, you're still giving away a lot of your time.
Well, I know.
Shut up. Shut up. Wait till I strike a deal. Then
But no, I mean, here again, I'm not trying to be a salesman for George, okay? I'm not. But if this moves you to buy a knife, talk to the man. I cannot tell all of you how many times me and George have been talking on the phone about something, and he's working on a knife, or even when he was doing the boxes. You know, this would be out of George's own mouth. Something about this one just don't look or feel quite right. Fuck it, I'm starting over. And you would hear clank of metal hitting a trash can or one of the bins or something, and literally he would start over from scratch.
This is the third one for Steve.
Yep.
How come they keep getting prettier every time you pick it up?
He's not going to let anything out of his shop that's not right.
Oh, and that's a convex grind too, Steve.
Dude, I couldn't tell you a convex from a concave. All I know is if it works, homeboy's happy.
Oh, you'll know when you get it.
You'll understand. I mean, it's basically I do a full flat grind, and then I take and put a piece of leather on my platen, and then kind of push the knife into it. And what it does is it puts kind of a bow to it, so you wind up with more meat behind it, and plus it gives it better cutting geometry.
Similar to a samurai sword?
Better cutting geometry than a samurai sword.
Yeah, way better.
I guess, but you're talking about practicality too on what you're actually using. For most things, though, you know what I mean? Or for most things, that would be nice because what you're doing is you're separating as you're cutting. So it's an assist almost, right?
Right.
So harder things may not be what you're looking for in that instance. But meat cutting or anything of that nature, I guess even some softer woods, I suppose. But yeah, I guess if you're shaving off and stuff like that, that would definitely assist on kicking that back, eh?
Mm-hmm. You know, the thing about it is, if, like I was talking about before, I asked somebody what they're going to use it for. If they're going to use it just for skinning, not processing, okay? Now, processing and skinning, you know, I can make a knife that'll do both. But if you just want to skin it, use it to skin, then I have no problem doing a hollow grind. You know, and a hollow grind comes in like that, and you know, it's not the optimal slicing geometry, because once you get to the top of the hollow grind, you come to an abrupt stop, and then you're going to have to force the knife through whatever you're cutting. So, but if you're just skinning, if you're just fleshing out and stuff like that, then a hollow grind is perfect. But when you start getting into where you need to be slicing through rib bones and stuff like that, and you may hit a bone or what like that, or you know, you're out doing food prep while you're camping, and you've got to slice apples, carrots, you know, whatever to go along with it, then a hollow grind knife is going to suck.
Yeah.
That's the one the piece of cheese always sticks to.
Exactly. And that's why I've never understood why people sell kitchen knives with hollow grinds.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
It makes absolutely no sense. Now, unless you've got like a 21 or a 22-inch wheel that's going to do a full height hollow grind where you're not going to have any abrupt stop from edge to spine, then a hollow grind on a kitchen knife is like tits on a boar hog.
Right.
Yes.
Steve, I figured you'd want one of those tactical beaver knives.
I really like that beaver knife. That's my favorite skinning knife. I can skin deer with it. Anything large, just the shape of that knife works for me.
I was really surprised. That honestly, the one that NH got for me is probably one of the sharpest knives I have ever made.
Oh, no wonder he hasn't showed it on video yet.
That thing was freaking scary. I mean, and when I talk about shaving sharp, I'm talking about shaving my face sharp. You know, not catching, not nothing. I mean, no, it's just like, oh crap. Have a good one, Gear.
All right, Gear.
Yep,
Have a good.
be good, Gear.
Or is Gear telling somebody else bye? Oh, it's Boyd. Night, Boyd.
What was that? All right, AB.
Sorry, y'all got me talking about knives. My mouth just went crazy.
That's fine.
Brother, you can talk knives all night long. I will listen to and absorb every ounce of information you're willing to spill out.
Ooh, hold on. I may have one over here. I want to show y'all the design. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it.
Oops.
Steve. Now, George just kind of backed away for a second. You know, we were talking earlier. Like I told you, I didn't, do any spoilers or anything, but didn't I tell you that was a beautiful fucking knife?
Yeah.
You did, brother.
God almighty, I'm jealous, dude. That thing is gorgeous.
Like, can you imagine just like the small amount of time if Stevie gets traps a beaver or whatever. Oh no, you can't use the beaver one. He already got you that one, but whatever. Bad choice I used. But you know what I'm saying. The just because it's so sharp, it's just the sharp knives, but we all use them. But when they're like extra sharp,
Right.
look how long you get to use it, which quickens up your process. Because your time is your money. I mean, nobody's trapping to make millions of dollars. That's for sure.
And you quickly realize with the steel George has used and the heat treat he's put on it, that edge will last far beyond what you would expect it to.
Yeah,
and then
I suck at sharpening.
Well, the good thing, Steve, is you get free lifetime sharpening. You just got to mail it back to me to do it.
Sweet. That's 2 guys I got deals with. Stump said I can start a mail order deal with him, too.
Hey, I'm telling you, George is better at it than I am.
That's just anytime I make somebody a knife, you pay for shipping it to me and, shipping it back to you, I'll sharpen it back. But here's the new design I'm working on.
That would make a great deer skinner.
Hang on a second. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. There it is. Oh, nice.
That's just an initial grind. That will be a full hot grind when it's done.
So it will be a full, okay.
That blade shape would be awesome for skinning.
Look how thick that sucker is.
Yeah, it is.
That's a little thick. What's that,
Nice
1/4 inch?
thick.
It's over a 1/4 inch thick.
Yep.
And it's a steel.
You did that with the hollow?
And it's a steel called 80CRV2, which is like spring steel on steroids.
Yeah. That's good stuff. That's nice. The hand back out of the way, right? Let your blade do the work in foreground.
Yep. And it's kind of got this arch going back here, so it puts blade forward. You've got this nice swoop right here to put your thumb right here. Either that, or you can take an index right here.
Excuse me.
The blade short enough to where you can index and do some fine fleshing, skinning, whatever you need to do.
Right on.
I know a couple seal hunters that could use that.
Speaking of seal hunters, where's our friend from the North Bend, Stevie? I can't get a hold of him.
He's starting to get his trap line set up. He was moving his line tent, his cabin tent out there last week.
I haven't been to get a hold of him to be able to invite him. I don't want him to think he's not, welcomed.
Oh, he knows, Mike. Don't worry about it. Yeah, he's starting to work his line and get it all prepped up for season and stuff.
And while you still got me in presentation mode, hey, Steve.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's excellent.
Yeah, isn't
that just smexy?
That is
awesome.
Is what sexy? I don't know what you're talking about. Can't see it. Sorry.
I love that file work, man.
Man, you went 0 to douche in 0.2 seconds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's because Stump has I don't know, it's like he likes to tease me or something, He'll every once in a while we'll be on the chat or whatever, and He'll just be doing this. He'll be like,
Well, Mike, how long have you known me, Mikey?
I don't have to sharpen this knife yet, he says. And I'm like, I'm going to stab you with that fucking knife in a minute.
How long have you known me now, Mikey?
Oh, it's going to be all of 4 years anyways, right?
About 4 years. And you think about it, if you'd have put back $1 a day for the past 4 years, you could have had the best knife you'd ever seen.
Right. And,
heck, if you put back $1 a day for 1 year. You could have one with a complete hand rub finish.
That's it, exactly. Nobody touch Dad's knife fund. It's on the damn drawer. Don't touch it.
Haha, Jeff.
It's also the swear jar for your mom. I should have this knife in 3 months. Perfect.
What do they call your prototype, though? Is that like a clip? No, that's not a, what do they call a crow's foot? No, what's it called? Damn it. Is it the style of that knife, George? Is that like a, what do they call? Something foot or something like that, isn't it? Is it not?
This one, you can either, no, it's not a sheep's foot.
It's not, okay.
The sheep's foot has more of a, yeah, the tip of the blade comes down like this. This is more of what I would call like a roach belly.
Okay.
Or a, there's another word for it. Gosh. Almost kind of like a Nessmuck. Somewhere between a roach belly and a Nessmuck.
Cool. All right, you guys, listen. It is 1:03 a.m.
Oh, geez, I'm way up past my bedtime.
That makes two of us. That makes two of us. So let me get back up to the good old chat room if I can. Well, my computer's really slow tonight. All right, you guys, listen. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get out of here. Thanks a million. Hey, car carrier, how are you? Thanks a million for coming by and watching and listening and participating. And for those who did, much appreciated. I shared the chat earlier tonight, and you guys will see it. Maybe it popped up in some of your windows, maybe it didn't. But I put an all-star panel come and join us, and it was an all-star panel tonight, gentlemen. It was a lot of fun, and I want to say thanks for each one of you guys for coming in tonight. We really did have a good time. Much enjoyed it.
Appreciate you,
brother. Like always, we appreciate you letting us come hang out with you.
But we're gonna get out of here. Until next Friday. I will see you guys all sooner or later.
Peace.